This podcast is part of the Pod Syndicate family. For more criminally compelling shows, articles, and conversations, head to wearepodsyndicate.com.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to episode 377 of Film Basterds. We are recording this again, and there is a section that has not been recorded, and I will never speak of it. My name is Ian Loring, and as always, I'm joined by...
Becky Foster, hello everybody.
And Mark Foster, hello everybody.
And we've got a comic book movie to talk about. Jesus fucking Christ. So, who could we possibly have on?
Noel Mellor, hello. It's been a while.
It has been... What was the last show you were on for, Noel?
Didn't we discuss this? Wasn't it like I wasn't on for Harley Quinn. I don't think.
Were you on for New Mutants?
I think New Mutants.
Was I on for New Mutants?
Yeah, I'm sure you were.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I was. That's right. Oh shit. Yeah.
So it's August.
Yeah. Okay. I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, that's not too bad then.
Yeah.
And it's a comic book movie, so obviously we've got Admiral Arthouse.
Well, Gal Gadot is like Israeli, isn't she? So therefore, it's kind of foreign.
World cinema.
Yes.
Pedro Pascal.
American.
With a Spanish name.
A bit of culture.
American.
Sorry, yes, Jordan McGrath. Ho, ho,
What
ho.
What a treat, guys. This is our festive pre-holiday edition. And I'm not going to get on with it because there was a very, very sloppy introduction I did previously that we're now not going to use. So, coming up, we've got discussion of a film we all managed to see in the cinema before everything turned to shit again. Wonder Woman 1984. We've got Mark, Becky, and I talking about Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, with Jordan providing a little bit in there. Not because he's shit, just because he hasn't seen it, which we've already recorded. So there's going to be a bit of time travel in this episode. We're also going to be talking about Holmes and Watson for some reason. And we've got some trailers, we've got some news, we've got some what we watched, so it's going to be a jam-packed show. First off, I'm going to get the plugs in. So patreon.com/filmbastards. Recently had 2 new Finch Club shows come out. You got something coming for you Christmas Day, which we've already recorded, so that will go up on Christmas Day. My On Her Majesty's Secret Service commentary, I'm going to record within the next few days, whether it's just me or whether there are any guests on. I want to get that out by the end of the month, like I said I would. And, we've got plans for the new year as well. So patreon.com/filmbastards, $2 a month. Thank you very much. We are podsyndicate.com, where you can find written content. You can find YouTube content. You can find podcasts from various people, such as Film Rant's Noel Mellor, Jordan McGrath's his film, her movie. We've got James Lawrence's The Iron Sequel. I'm not going to do everybody's names, Jesus. Entertainment Landfill, Chinstrugger versus Punter, What's on Tap. Am I forgetting anybody, or have I?
Think that's everyone.
Yeah, nice. Very good. So we are podsyndicate.com. And yeah, I think that was about it, really. So what have we got in the world of news this week? I will just say HBO Max and Warner all turned into a bit of a shit show, and apparently now they might be reconsidering several of the films. Brilliant. I'm very, very pleased about that personally. I love the fact that apparently Will Smith basically had it written into his contract that he could decide whether King Richard got a theatrical release or not, and he's gone, I want that fucking thing on the big screen. How was none of this shit litigated before they actually made that announcement? I don't know, but I love it.
That's the thing, though, isn't it? It's embarrassing more than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that it's such a huge decision, not only just for themselves, but for the industry and for the future of the art form, if you want to say that. And they haven't even looked in the T's and Q's. The T's and C's. It's absolutely insane. And the thing is, I was all right with the whole idea of it. I'd still go to the cinema to see some of the bigger films. However, the option is there, and that was quite kind of nice. But yeah, it's just piss poor management.
It is. Like you say, it does seem a little bit like they very quickly hit the panic button before it was the right time to panic, and they didn't flesh out their idea. They just went bang, like somebody said it, and then they didn't have time to backtrack and go, "Oh, we didn't mean that."
But that's the thing as well. It also seems like it was a decision that didn't really consider anyone else. Didn't really it's like they didn't consult with a lot of the people whose films they were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. The Dune one, I think, is fascinating, where Denis Villeneuve came out and said, you've basically killed the franchise here. Like, how the fuck is there going to be demand for a second one? Sorry. Yeah, how the fuck is there going to be demand for a second one when, it's just like a $200 million movie going to HBO Max? And it's almost like Warner's gone, fucking hell, yeah, he's got a good point, actually, isn't he? Like, we want this to be a franchise starter, and how the fuck is it going to be that if it's just on HBO Max? I 100% get why they did it with Wonder Woman. It's like it's content that they've got out there and it's ready, and they kind of probably need to start getting a move on with DC stuff to just kind of keep it in the conversation, even though I think it's interesting that Wonder Woman 84 is basically entirely standalone, which was kind of refreshing in a way. But we'll talk about the little things later on because the trailer came out today, and that kind of feels like, yeah, all right, you know what, fair enough, like kind of like adult aimed thriller that was probably mid-budget, kind of feels like the kind of thing that would go to Netflix. Yeah, fair enough. But Godzilla versus Kong, the fact that apparently whether that's HBO Max or not will depend on whether Legendary accepts whatever financial settlement Warner offered them, even though Netflix were going to pay $250 million for it. So, it feels, like you guys say, it feels unthought out, it feels unsustainable, and it feels like the work of of the head of a company who's never been the head of a movie studio before, but has been the head of a telecommunications fucking firm.
It stinks of panic a little bit as well, because it's, I mean, as you've kind of hinted at, but I mean, I'd argue personally that Little Things doesn't necessarily feel like a film that would go to Netflix, more a film that would go to DVD about 10 years ago.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but no, I think the telling thing is the bigger, or the strange thing I'd say is the bigger film. So like the King Kong versus Godzilla and Dune as two examples there. I understand it with Wonder Woman 84, because like you say, that's a film that is ready to go. It's been floating around for a while. They've been marketing it for a while. But if you look at Godzilla versus King Kong and Dune, people really haven't seen much of it. I mean, there's been a Dune trailer, obviously, but it's not. People don't know much about. Well, a lot of people, myself included, don't know much about that text anyway. So there's still a lot of work to get it in front of people and then get people excited about it. So rushing it out onto video on demand seems pretty crazy. Less so for something like Little Things, I'd say, but yeah, it feels rushed, it feels panicky, and for such a massive, potentially game-changing move, they've clearly jumped the gun a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting because like the way that Disney are dealing with this in terms of being pretty upfront. This is going to be Disney Plus. This is going to be theatrical. And even when they have announced that things are going theatrical to Disney Plus, you haven't heard an outcry from the filmmakers like Soul.
Yeah.
Nobody said anything there. And I mean, the word on Soul is, it's kind of not a surprise because it probably wouldn't have made that much money because it's fucking batshit and not for kids. I'm so intrigued by Soul. That thing's going to be something. But Disney seemed to have done it in a way that hasn't got people's backs up. People work with Netflix. Big directors work with Netflix, and they're comfortable with what Netflix do. The thing that's happened with Warner here is it's almost literally like that the head's gone, we own all these films, don't we? Well, kinda. Yeah, we do, don't we? Yeah, sure we do. Okay, cool. Put a press release out. Like I mean, I obviously it's not that unthought of, but that's what it gives the impression of. And like you say, it is embarrassing, and I'm glad that there's some egg on the face there. Not for like the theatrical experience. I mean, like, yes, okay. For me, for the theatrical experience, I am biased there. But also just for the fact that you've got fucking filmmakers who are like, what the fuck? And Villeneuve's right as well. They're leaving money on the fucking table, because if Dune does hit, that, it could make a shitload of money. It might make fucking nothing. But if they put it out on HBO Max, there's only a certain amount of money it is going to make, I suppose. And, I mean, that's...
The thing there is, though, with the Dune thing, is why make that movie and spend $150 million to make that movie specifically and then not give it a theatrical experience? It's just pointless doing it for that reason, because that movie probably isn't going to make money. It will be. It is in realms of where you're looking at it. Right, that's got a 70% chance of making money versus a 30% chance of losing money. That's probably a 60% chance of losing money and a 40% chance of making money. But they've punted on it.
Yeah.
It's just, if they had come out and said there's going to be a 30-day window or a 60-day window or something like that, and said it's going to be in cinemas exclusively for a period of time, and then, to be fair, like what they're doing with Wonder Woman over here, comes out in the cinema 16th of December, it's on premium video on demand the 13th of January, so not even you can just watch it on a streaming service, you're still probably going to have to pay £15 to rent it for 48 hours. And in that case, then, you were still respecting the filmmakers, were fully expecting to get a big screen release, getting their big screen release at least for a few weeks. I've mentioned it on the show before, but Universal, their whole thing of, if it makes over 50 million, we won't release it on PVOD as fast. Fair enough, but it somebody said earlier on, it's like the baby out with the bathwater with this, and I'm glad that from a PR point of view, it's gone as wrong for them as it has. Hopefully, it will make them learn some lessons.
It's interesting that you get the sense as well that Warner Brothers has been caught in the idea of, a little bit like Netflix is the company that will let you do basically whatever you want. Warner Brothers is the studio that will fund whatever you want, but then make sure it gets a theatrical release. And actually, they really sort of risked losing that part of their reputation with this move. The other thing with going back to the thing on Dune as well is I think you've got to look at the way certain films make money. Dune, I don't think it's going to do very well, to be honest with you, but I can understand the reasoning behind making a film like Dune and putting it in front of people so that people go, this looks quite spectacular. I want to go to the cinema. I'm going to go and see this. Is Dune the kind of film that makes you subscribe to a new streaming service and then stay there? I don't think it is. It doesn't seem like that type of thing. I can understand why somebody who knew nothing about Dune would see a trailer and say, I want to see that at the cinema. I can't imagine them subscribing to something on the back of it.
Yeah, no, that's
I
right.
feel like it's a film that movies should be able to stand up to home viewing. They absolutely should, but I think it will lose something on home viewing.
I think that it's that first viewing aspect of it. It's that first sort of absorbing everything that's going on thing.
You're talking about Dune, but think about Villeneuve's last film, like 2049. Seeing that on the big screen was an experience. Like with Deakins' photography and things like that, it just was so engrossing and so beautiful. And yeah, you lose a lot, but for me, it's. I think when we do get to the time when we're going to have Dune out, there's going to be so much advertisement because, like, Dune is a hard sci-fi story. Like, it's not like a Marvel sci-fi or even like something a bit more manageable and a bit more digestible.
Like level sci-fi, is it?
Yeah, it's proper. And I just don't see how they're going to do that and try and appeal it to a mass audience.
I honestly don't think it's that, because I don't know anything about. I think I've seen the Lynch one. I can't really remember. I don't know anything about the original text. I know for a fact, and this is going to sound unfair, I don't want to lump it in necessarily with films like this, but Jupiter Ascending, for example, is a film that I can see a trailer for and I can go, I'll give that a pop on the cinema. But because I didn't, that film's now been on home video for God knows how long, 2 years, and I've still not seen it. Like, Dune is exactly the kind of film that I will, exactly the kind of big spectacle sci-fi film that I don't need to know anything about, but I will take a punt on at the cinema. If Dune was sat on, let's say for argument's sake, Apple TV, and it was $8.99, I probably wouldn't pull the trigger on it. And that's, for me personally, that is how I would. That's the only way that I would consume Dune. I think it would be in a cinema.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I think I agree with that. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think I'd probably give it a go, but I get what you're saying there. It's like, if you're going to actually take the time to watch that film, do it in like the optimal way so that you can try and really click with what Villeneuve's actually going for there.
But that's also it as well. So, like, if you're watching it on HBO Max, and you get maybe 20 minutes in it and you realise just how sci-fi it is, then you can switch it off. Whereas you can't do that in the cinema. You've paid your money, you're going to sit there until the end, even if you don't like it. So yeah, I mean, I would have watched it on home video, but I mean, I would have wanted to see it in the cinema, but I wouldn't have minded to see it on the streaming.
I'd be willing to put a small amount of money down now, saying that Dune gets a theatrical exclusive release, maybe not necessarily like the 90 days as it is now, but that it doesn't go HBO Max on the same day. I mean, unless this new variant suddenly becomes like COVID-21 or something like that, but Anyway,
I've got to say though, like I've said, I'm worried about Dune. I don't know that's if things were to continue the way they are, I don't know that audiences would come out just for June. And if things were to change and we end up with a pretty cluttered schedule of big box office blockbusters that we would get in 2021, I feel like it's going to be a hard sell for a lot of people, that film.
For me, the only films that people would come out for, even in a pandemic, is a Marvel film or a Star Wars film.
Yeah.
So it's like, but the thing is, but not Black Widow, like, which sounds really bad. I mean, I'm really looking forward to Black Widow, but I don't think that's a film that would get loads of people out.
I don't know, I think Black Widow's going to do all right. I think basically just because Black Widow feels safe. I think people are going to appreciate the fact that it's a character that they recognize in a format that they're familiar with. I feel like Black Widow people will turn out for that because it'll almost be like a dose of normality. Whereas like June is a sort of unknown quantity. Whereas Black Widow is just like, oh great, it's fine, we can just go and watch that character that we know run about for 2 hours, and maybe there'll be some references to those things that we were already familiar with.
Yeah, I don't know. It's obviously, I mean, this will be an interesting fucking time piece. What the fuck? Anyway. Just in terms, like, at the moment, obviously we're up in the air with whether the vaccine's going to be okay against this new variant. Probably is, but it is up in the air. And if that does go a bit wrong, then is that the time when you see the dominoes falling and them all going, do you know what? Fuck it, we're just going to have to release on streaming or PVOD. I honestly. It feels like it's going to come down to like the next couple of weeks in that case now. Like if they announce that this new variant isn't dealt with by the vaccine, then you're going to start seeing No Time to Die and Black Widow fucking not. I don't think they're going to delay now. They're going to come out, but it's just in what format. But we'll see what happens, and all the word is promising enough anyway. So, we shall see. Should we talk about a new film that was announced?
Sort of. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, sort of. Blumhouse are doing an Exorcist film.
Yeah.
To be directed by David Gordon Green.
It seems like they've got a big dartboard that has all the names of all these different, horror franchises, big horror films, and they just walk in and go, chuck it at it and go, right, work in quickly, name a director. Dave Gordon Green, yeah, Exorcist, brilliant, do it. There's 12 million.
I mean, I liked Halloween enough. They must have some fucking confidence in those next two Halloween films to be giving him Exorcist.
But that's, I mean, the thing is, I actually, if I remember correctly, I think Noel, you actually came off with the Halloween episode of Film Basterds when I was listening to it, and I felt like it was a bit of a middling thoughts on it, but like I remember going to see it. I think I saw it in a double bill with something. I can't remember what else, but I actually really enjoyed the new Halloween film. I just dug its vibe, and I dug how, like, that final act where people's normally fleeing, and what Jamie Lee Curtis was doing was trying to make the room smaller to attack. And I dug it. I really, really liked it. So, I mean,
I feel like I might have been more harsh than other people on it, but I feel like I liked it the least. Would that be right?
You certainly liked it a lot less than Ian and Becky.
Yeah, I think that probably tracks, yeah.
But when you touch anything, I mean, especially when you touch something like The Exorcist, there's going to be some trepidation and some, do they really need to go down this mine? But hey, I mean, he'll probably forget about any of the sequels and go down a different avenue, which is fine, I guess. Although Exorcist 3 is great, but
yes,
to David Gordon Green, he can do horror. We've seen it, and you can always sort of mine anything from the science versus religion argument that The Exorcist brings up and stuff like that.
So what do we actually know here? Do we know that is it a remake or is it it's a sequel?
Sequel.
So it's a sequel to The Exorcist then, not The Exorcist 3, presumably.
Yes.
Right. So they're basically just literally doing exactly what they did with Halloween.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I mean, that's it. I didn't enjoy Halloween when I saw it, but I think I was a bit too harsh on it at the time because I was expecting something a lot fresher than it actually gave me. I was expecting a bit of a fresher take, and I didn't get that, and I think that's where I was disappointed. That said, I am excited about seeing more because now I'm comfortable with the idea that they're just like, all right, well, they're just sort of carrying this timeline on, and it's not going to be too different. So if they want to do that with The Exorcist, I mean, I don't know. The Exorcist has always felt like a film that never really needed any sequels to me anyway. So, yeah, I do. I think that the other two Exorcist sequels are all right, but I'm not overly excited. But I'll watch it for sure.
I suppose my hope is that because there's name recognition there, they go, all right, we don't necessarily need to be like cheap jump scares and whatnot to get people in. People will come for the name recognition, and we get something that feels of a piece with Exorcist and Exorcist 3. Either that or just go fucking bug nuts like Exorcist 2. Yeah, I don't know. My worry is that it would just be a bit jump scary, but I trust David Gordon Green. I broadly trust Blumhouse, and yeah, I mean, let's see what they come up with here. But I don't know. I want something legitimately scary, and like intellectually scary. And I know that sounds fucking pretentious, but with Halloween, it's it is stabby, and it's kind of like the thrill of the chase and all that kind of stuff. The Exorcist isn't that. I mean, The Exorcist 3 isn't that. Like that's what I want from this, and let's see what happens.
I mean, the fear would that you get something, for example, like The Last Exorcist, The Last Exorcism. That's the film, isn't it? With we saw at Fright Fest.
Yeah.
That's the film.
But I would even like it to go down the avenue, even though it's not a great film, but I like the idea and the structure of it. Is something like The Last Exorcism of Emily Rose, where you're building off this exorcism storyline, but in a court case. That for me would be interesting.
Yes.
Did anybody ever watch the actual TV series? Because apparently that was quite good.
Oh, no, I didn't watch that.
I watched a few episodes, and it was all right. I just never continued with it.
From what I remember, I think it might have been Mike that was talking about it. Actually, I think it was apparently kind of a bit of a slow burn, but it was worth it. Which is not what I like to hear about a TV series a lot of time. Sure. But if we're going into this and sort of going, where do we take a modern version of The Exorcist, then that has already been done in recent years.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens. It'll be probably with us in like a year or two, and it'll be interesting to see what the casting is and kind of what the. I'd really like a synopsis for this one, just to get a sense of it. But yeah, interesting stuff. I think that was probably about it. I'm kind of surprised we had something as big as that right before Christmas, to be fair. Was there anything I was missing?
No, I don't think so.
No? Okay. So, moving on to trailers. And who wants to get us started? I know, George, there were a couple that you mentioned you'd seen.
Yeah, I'd say first up that I saw, which looks interesting, which is a Spike Lee presentation, which is American Skin, which looks like a drama / thriller of a police killing of a young black man, and his father then goes on a bit of a vengeance, a bit of a spree, and breaks into a police station where the officer who killed his son is there and basically asks for his judgment. And especially very, very timely regarding the way 2020 and George Floyd and everything came out. But it does look quite interesting, and when you've got somebody like Spike Lee who is synonymous with that voice, it's something that jumps out on the 2021 slate for me. Did anybody else see it?
Which one is that? That's not the Nate Parker one from last year, is it?
Oh, let's have a look.
What was it called again? Because
American Skin.
American Skin.
Yeah, it's 2019.
Yeah, it's the Nate Parker one.
Well, a trailer came out for it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it comes out in the US next year.
So what's it already out on them?
I think it did a few kind of like festivals and stuff a couple of years ago.
Right.
The reviews are not very good.
Yeah.
Nate Parker is problematic, yeah.
The reviews are not good. So I thought it was coming out in 2021. Then, well, there we go. That's one. The other, I've got a couple. Wrong Turn is getting a remake or a reimagining. Now, the trailer looked like your normal sort of remake of a horror film, but is it me? The trailer makes it seem that Wrong Turn is considered a classic.
They all do that, though, don't they?
And that it had an acclaimed director of somebody P someone who I've never heard of. But it's just sort of like, it really seemed like Wrong Turn was considered this horror genre masterpiece. And I can't remember back when, it was 2003 when it got released, but is it even seen in that high of regard?
Yeah, not for movies around that time. I think it was. It seemed to be a bit of a gnarly kind of straight to, well, it didn't go straight to DVD, but almost like the DVD like generation horror movies that kind of it seemed quite accessible. Like for a while, it was one of those ones where if it was on Channel 4, it got an awful lot of views on it and stuff like that. It's a weirdly, like, Wrong Turn is almost like a horror movie that loads of like people will watch. Like at different times in like the past God knows how many years since it came out, both my parents have commented on that they've seen Wrong Turn and enjoyed it, and neither of those people are horror film watchers.
Yeah,
I think it's one that
I feel like I need to re-watch Wrong Turn.
I think it's one that
enjoy Eliza Dushku if you do.
True.
That's true.
It's a decent cast, is Wrong Turn. Actually, we own Wrong Turn on iTunes, don't we?
And on DVD.
And on DVD.
I think the question is does the, like, I mean, I think I'd agree. I seem to remember it being a bit of a sleeper and being quite popular among horror film community and stuff like that. But I don't know how much the franchise is. I mean, there's fucking 6 of them apparently. So I don't know how many people have seen Wrong Turn: Last Resort. So probably not many.
Hello.
How was it?
Do you know what? I will say the first one's very good. The second one's not great. The third one's all right, as is the fourth, and the fifth and the sixth are not very good. I do like the fact that literally that Wrong Turn 6 Last Resort unrated. There is one cut of it. Unrated just means that they didn't submit it for a rating. It doesn't mean that it's unrated.
Well, it's like that crazy shit with Possessor, where in the US it's known as Possessor Uncut, even though it seems like there's only one cut of it.
There is an extra, I think, 8 seconds of it.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
I don't know.
One thing I will say.
It's like the uncut version of A History of Violence that just has blood coming out of the guy's mouth when he stamped on his neck. And that's it. It's exactly the same movie. It's just in one you can see blood and the other one you can't.
That's crazy.
Go on.
One thing I will say, I was just because I know Ian brings up his favourite kill from the Friday the 13th series at every given opportunity.
Takes Manhattan. Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah. My favourite kill. Whoops, shit. My watch is talking to me. My favourite kill from any slasher movie is the kill at the beginning of Wrong Turn 2, Dead End.
That's a good one.
It's absolutely magnificent. It's where it's by the side of the road. They come out and she's basically split in two with an axe. But it's the moment before he splits her in two and he holds her head like he's lining up a melon to chop it off. It's fucking magnificent. So good.
Oh dear. Okay, no, great. New Wrong Turn. That could be fun. We do have The Little Things, a fascinating film where I mean, you got Rami Malek, and it's like, who can we cast who looks more shifty than Rami Malek? What's Jared up to?
Even Jared Leto's not more shifty than Rami Malek.
I mean, this is the thing. It's probably going to turn out that Rami Malek is actually the fucking killer.
Bex literally said that like halfway through a trailer. Bex turned around and went. I mean, Rami Malek is obviously the killer.
There's just no way he's not. He looks like he probably kills people in real life.
The thing is, and I will watch the shit out of this because it looks like Tuesday night cinema fodder, like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
I just wish he wasn't in it.
But it does look like it should say The Little Things, shit prisoners. It does look a little bit like shitty prisoners.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's Denzel, so it's.
The thing is, as well, there's also a reveal in there that seems to suggest that something's going on with Denzel Washington. So we might end up with a film here where there's just all three people killing people.
Yeah.
All of them are guilty.
No, I reckon the twist is that Jared Leto's actually he's just completely innocent of everything. He's just a bit weird and has a nice car that Denzel likes with a big trunk.
Yeah.
The only thing he's guilty of is he's been knocking together a demo tape.
Yeah, the McGrath is that Denzel Washington is just trying to buy his car.
Yeah.
I think as well, Denzel, although yes, I do love him and I love his presence and yeah, his vibe, but I just want to see him while he's still got his entire mind and his sort of the machinery of his body behind him, just do another, like, go work with Spike Lee again instead of making these sort of second tier thrillers. Like, we've had things that, although I've enjoyed it, like your Two Guns and your Equalizers, I just want to see him get his teeth into something like properly meaty again.
He's not quite in sort of Wesley Snipes, but Bruce Willis territory, but he's kind of getting close to Liam Neeson territory.
Exactly.
Like, just sort of feel like he could, if he tried a little bit harder, he could like be, back on the big stage.
I mean, his next one is that Joel Cohen Macbeth one,
which could be very interesting.
Yeah, which is like the first Cohen to not Cohen.
Oh.
Yes, him and Francis McDormand, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
In that case, why is it not called Cohen Solo? Huh?
You know.
I feel like we need to keep that one in reserve to write a review about it.
I mean, to be fair to Denzel, like, he's probably gonna get a Best Picture nomination for producing Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. It may, I don't know, maybe it's just like these paychecks are helping pay for like the kind of the passion project shit that he's doing in the background. It's like Fences wasn't that long ago.
Fences was 2016. Then he had Roman J's Real Esquire. Then Equalizer 2. But like,
great
then
film.
like you had, but again good. But you had Unstoppable, Safe House, Flight, Two Guns, Magnificent Seven. You have a Book of Eli in there. To take him with Pelham 1, 2, 3. I mean, he generally
absolute corker.
Yeah, but like again, it's like when he works with Tony Scott on these sorts of projects, I think he pops. But The Equalizer, I saw it at the cinema. Can't remember anything about it. I saw Two Guns come up on Netflix a few days ago, but don't really want to watch that again. Safe House, I don't think I've seen. I just want to see him. Like American Gangster, there is the last one where I think, do you know what? That was his last properly great role.
But actually, if you do look back across his career, it's not anything new. He has always kind of done, amongst the sort of Malcolm X and the Philadelphia and that type of thing, there are a lot of sort of high profile, just, I don't want to say straight to video because they're not, but like they're sort of like, mainstream thriller, but they're always of a high quality. But he does pepper his career with quite a lot of that type of stuff as well. So it's nothing new really. I mean, he did Heart Condition the year after he did Glory, for fuck's sake.
Have either of you guys seen Robert J. Rule, Esquire?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Because we watched it, didn't we? We all watched it, and it seemed like it got a little bit of a lot of people were sort of going, why is Denzel being nominated for this? It's a bit of a nothing movie, and it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah. No, that film is fucking great.
That last shot is fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't even remember this coming out.
Yeah, it seems to come out of nowhere and just seemed to get a couple of nominations with everyone being really snippy about it. And it's like, have you actually seen it though? It's really, really good.
No, I mean it's the Nightcrawler guys follow up to Nightcrawler, if I remember correctly.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it Tony Gilroy? Isn't it?
Dan Gilroy.
Dan.
Oh, is it Dan? I always get the two of them mixed up. Sorry. But yeah, and it's fucking properly good. It's properly good. Is Roman J. Israel Esquire? Colin Farrell's really good in it as well, actually, like really good. But that's the thing. It's just like he just seems to bounce around a bit, and I mean. He starred in a lot of Anton Fuqua films, I think probably because he likes Anton Fuqua and he just enjoys working with the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, the only sequel he's ever made is Equalizer 2. And it's probably I just want to spend some time working with this guy. But I mean, the little things, I agree. It is a bit, what the fuck is he doing in this? But I don't know. The thing is, Jared Leto and Rami Malek, I can't say I particularly like either of them, but they're pretty fucking hot property. So if you've got all three of them in a film, that film's probably going to be worthy of attention for the material, if not necessarily watching Rami Malek be just not a human again.
Well, that's all Oscar winners as well, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's written and directed by John Lee Hancock, who did he's got a fucking fascinating career, but he did The Blind Side and did he do The Highwayman or the Netflix film? Yeah. So, which was all right, if any fucking cinemas are open in January, I'll go check it out. If not, to be fair, with the fucking VPN HBO Max subscription, I think I'm probably going to take out at some fucking point. I'll watch the shit out of this. Yeah.
Oh yeah, God, yeah. I will lap that shit up.
We like a grimy thriller, don't we?
Oh yeah, I'm all about getting the grime.
I mean, you are Captain Grimes.
Yeah, I
am. And a film that we really probably should be watching this week, but Amazon were like, nah, fuck it, let's put it out on the 5th of March.
Pricks.
Yeah.
Craig Brewer's Coming to America.
Which is almost like they've gone, we've got this American movie, and we're going to put it out at Christmas. And he's gone, nah, I've got plans Christmas. I've gone, right, but you do realise it's not just for you to watch. You could just watch it when you've not got plans. Nah, my next point I've got in my schedule is, 5th of March. Is that all right? And I've gone, couldn't we just put it out at Christmas and you could just watch it the 5th of March? No. 5th of March. It makes no sense, this.
Mm.
But the trailer made me smile an awful lot.
It feels a lot like a sequel to Coming to America, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it really does.
Well, I got a little bit worried when it flashed to the barber shop, and I thought, oh God, no, is this going to not work? And then within a second of seeing the makeup and things like that, I was like,
Yeah.
holy shit, that literally looks like they just found some other old footage. I am very much up for this.
I will say as well, I really, really belly laughed at the line. What does he say specifically? It's after the line in the barber shop towards the end where he says, flies on the baby's faces and says, "Oh no, you can't see that." And the Arsenio Hall one in the background goes, "Political correctness." Just belly laughed at that.
The thing that makes me interested about this is, and you're talking about Lee Hancock with an interesting career, Craig Brewer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like Hustle and Flow to Black Snake Moan to Footloose. And I don't care what anybody says, the remake of Footloose is bloody brilliant.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Dolomite is My Name, and then going straight into this to work and with Eddie again and coming to America. I really do have high hopes. I really, really do. I think if he gets the performance like Eddie Murphy, he did out of Dolomite is My Name, and he gets his energy right, this could be very, very good.
I'm looking forward to Wesley Snipes just being big as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be a treat, isn't it? Sorry, I'm just going to sneeze.
I have my hopes are set to this just being just like 114 minutes of just a lot of entertainment.
Yeah. I think as a trailer it works brilliantly as well. It really does, like I say, it really captures the spirit of Coming to America and makes you feel like you've literally, that movie you loved and you watched the other day, well now it's just carried on. It really comes across.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the sort of like Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall, then a few other actors, also starring Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall, starring Eddie and Arsenio, Eddie and Arsenio Coming to America.
Well, yeah. What I like about it also is like if you saw this trailer, like obviously if everybody's younger, and it came out in 1989, the year after of Coming to America, it wouldn't have felt out of place.
No.
Like they've got that comedy down just right. It doesn't feel like it's been 32 years.
It doesn't help that it doesn't hurt, I should say, that Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall don't really appear to have aged for some reason.
I mean, Arsenio, that in particular is, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah. And they're leaning a lot on the makeup section with there's the returning characters. There's a lot of sort of prosthetics and stuff like that, but you got to remember those will only be small skits in what is a 90-minute plus movie. So, God, I'm looking forward to this so fucking much, honest to God, I really am.
I like the fact that John Amos is back as well.
Who did he play?
He plays the dad. He plays the owner of McDowell's, doesn't he?
Oh, God, it's McDowell's.
Oh, God, is he in there? I didn't see him.
He's back as well.
Oh, my God. Is anybody else, when it started, though, was anybody else listening to the voiceover and thinking, oh, I wonder who they got to do James Earl Jones's voice now that he's dead? And then when he popped up on screen, I was like, oh, shit, no, he didn't die.
He's one of those things where when they said that James Earl Jones was going to be in this, I was like, I mean, he dead. It's a little bit like when every year when Driving Home for Christmas comes on, you go, Chris Rea dead. And nobody knows.
No.
Nobody knows at all if he
died
is.
in a tragic accident on the M6 driving home for Christmas.
To play on what is it? No, he's not.
He's not dead.
No.
Okay.
Guarantee when he doesn't get home for Christmas this year, all his kids just think, is Dad dead?
No, he just got COVID-19.
I didn't mean about him. I'm saying it's nice that he's alive.
Mm-hmm.
He's not dead. He's not dead, children. He's just stuck in Dover trying to get.
He's just he's just in Kent at the moment.
He's in Kent in traffic.
Have we got any others trailers?
I'll mention one quickly just because it's not so much a trailer actually as it was more a sort of show reel of stuff. Was the Beatles Get Back trailer, Peter Jackson thing.
Peter Jackson one, yeah. He's been working on this for quite a while, hasn't he?
Yeah, so he's been working on it for quite a while, and it's so I'm a huge Beatles fan. I've read quite a lot of Beatles biographies and autobiographies, and this year I actually read 2 more, and one specifically called "And in the End," I forget the name of the author, is excellent, and it's just about like the last year or so of the Beatles and the breakup and the financial situation and stuff like that. And a big part of that is the Let It Be sessions and the whole recording of that and the whole plan to make a documentary of that. And how much stuff was shot, and then how much stuff was really negative, and how much stuff was never seen by people, and the difficulties that they had cutting it together into a movie. So obviously, Let It Be as a movie did come out, and it does exist. It came out in cinemas, and then it came out in VHS years later. But it's never been released digitally. It's never been brought out on DVD. It's never been released on Blu-ray. Paul McCartney has clearly drawn a line under it and gone, I do not want this out there because it shows a very ugly side of the Beatles. But as the story goes, Peter Jackson sort of looked into it and found that there was, I think it's 150 odd hours of footage that was shot. Some of it audio, some of it video, and he's kind of been through it all and created this and created this movie, which actually isn't quite as negative as everybody thought it was going to be. And it's a period of the Beatles' history that I'm absolutely fascinated by, and the fact that, Peter Jackson has apparently managed to shave this down into a film that actually shows what appears to be the much more positive side of the Beatles. Like, I've read so much about all the negativity around the Let It Be sessions and what came out of that, and how how they were struggling with Klein, the person who was managing all their money at the time, and infighting and all that type of stuff. It's going to be fantastic to see how these guys work together and the magic that happens in the studio and the positive side of that, and actually the great music that they produce, and how all of these things appear to be forgotten when they actually get in a room together and they start just making music. So this was like a 5-minute show reel of stuff set to a recording of Get Back and some other little bits and bobs as well. And it really gives you this flavour of who the Beatles were at this point in their life, and the idea that we can now go back to like 1969 and just spend time with the Beatles as they were in that moment and see all of this stuff that we've never seen before, and see them putting together songs and messing around in the studio and forgetting all the troubles that they're having with Klein and the management and all that side of thing. It's so looking forward to this. I can't tell you, it's fucking fascinating stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be fucking. Like you say, it's just gonna be a really good, fascinating watch.
And it's rewriting a whole sort of chapter of their story. Everybody knows that Let It Be was a difficult album to put together in some respects, because there was a lot of half finished songs and songs that George would take forward to do his solo stuff that Paul would take forward, stuff that would end up on Abbey Road. There was a lot of unused and half-finished things. And as such, the actual editing together of the album took a long time. And, that's why it was sort of released after Abbey Road. It's a whole period of the Beatles' history which is very, very mired in the downside and the breakup and the hard times before they went off and did Let It Be, which again was a difficult, challenging album for them to do, but saw them sort of come together a little. No pun intended. Saw them sort of come together a little bit more. Let It Be is known as a difficult album that was stitched together and wasn't quite what everybody hoped for, and the documentary is thought of as the same, and that's why it's never seen the light of day beyond VHS. So, like I say, just to see this and have that a whole other side of choice cuts from that period brought to the screen is just, I can't fucking wait. It looks beautiful.
And that's August next year.
August, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
It's a long way off, but I think it was supposed to come out in August of this year, I think. So, I mean, I'm not being funny about Peter Jackson, but you live in New Zealand, you could have fucking fixed this. I could be watching it right now. Literally the one country in the world that's not got any COVID cases.
I think it's I think it's a Disney backed.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
Isn't it? So yeah, it's no, it looks really interesting, but that was great. It's good. Really nice passion there. I enjoyed that. I wish
honest to God, I swear I said this on Twitter the other day, and I mean it. If there was there are a lot of films coming out next year. If this is easily my most anticipated film, I think.
I'll have to have you on as Beatles correspondent.
There we go. I'll come back. I'll get back.
You'll get back. Have we got any others?
The only other one I was going to mention, but there's not much information out about it, so I don't know whether it's TV or film. But has anyone watched the trailer for Death to 2020?
I did not. I avoided it on purpose because I just want to watch it.
It's fast.
It's fast.
It's got a cast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, really. But yeah, it's very much, there's no information on it. There's like a very, very short teaser, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't sort of give anything away then?
No, not really. I don't think so. You could watch it, I think.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson, Hugh Grant, Lisa Kudrow, Camille Nanjiani, Tracy Ullman, Leslie Jones. It is a cast.
Leslie Jones has got a line in the trailer that made you laugh out loud, didn't it?
Yeah.
About the train wreck and the shit show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. That was solid. I get the sense this is going to be like a 1 hour one-off comedy, almost like a fucking nuclear powered version of Charlie Brooker's Year Wipe or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
And yeah, fucking let's go. I think it's streaming from Sunday.
Yeah.
Ooh, is it?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, nice. Okay, great. So
well, aren't you resourceful?
Come with me.
No, I don't think so. Remove this woman, please. Permanently. You okay?
I don't know.
let's talk about our main review. And it's a big film. Wouldn't have thought a few weeks back that we'd be reviewing this now, but we are. Great. This is Wonder Woman 1984, directed by Patty Jenkins, starring Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, Kristen Wiig, Pedro Pascal, and plenty of others. So this got a theatrical release in the UK where it was able to play over this last weekend. It's on HBO Max and in cinemas in the US on Christmas Day, and gets a PVOD release in the UK on January the 13th. So this sees Diana Prince, Wonder Woman, played by Gal Gadot, back. It's obviously 1984, and through essentially a magical trinket, people's wishes are being brought to life, including Chris Pine's Steve Trevor returning, and Kristen Wiig's Barbara Minerva wanting to be more like Diana and not quite knowing what that actually meant. Let's start with Admiral Arthouse. Jordan McGrath, how did you like this latest introspective black and white Polish drama?
It was fine. That was a 3-word review. It was fine.
Brilliant.
The thing is, it did some things well. Like the action, I do enjoy. However, it did some things that, I mean, again, I know it's brought up quite a lot when we're talking about films, but the story is not complex enough for this to be a 2.5-hour film. And at the end, you do feel that it just sort of extends for, I think, this thing. We want to be epic, and epic means long, and that is incorrect. Epic means that you've got to have pace and you've got to have size, whereas it has pace when there's action going on, but then sort of deflates after it. And I think a lot of the same issues arise in the first Wonder Woman. And don't get me wrong, as for the look and as for when she's doing the action, it's great. But Gal Gadot is not the best actress in the world. And when she's trying to sell some of the more emotional moments, it's just not really that believable. And especially when you've got somebody who is such a charisma powerhouse like Chris Pine playing off her, you just wish that there was a bit more give and take. Whereas you feel like some of the Chris Pine stuff just falls on deaf ears because, as you said, I mean, when Chris Pine took over Kirk, it's like he was the new Harrison Ford. He had it all. He had the looks, the charisma, and he can deliver a performance as well. So when you've got that against somebody like Gal Gadot, yeah, it's not great. And I just felt that getting later on in the film, it gets a little bit too preachy, and it's a fact of show don't tell. Like it had said everything that the character that one of them says in a monologue at the end already within the film through its subtext, where we didn't really need a 4-minute monologue where she's basically looking at the camera. I mean, leave that sort of crap. It's been mentioned a lot of this by me on this episode, but leave stuff like that to people like Spike Lee, because in the same year you've got Delroy Lindo delivering a monologue to screen, and you've got Gal Gadot delivering a monologue to screen. You know where the sort of talent for that sort of stuff lies. I will add also, is that Patty Jenkins obviously has been announced as the director of Rogue Squadron. Now, it'd be interesting to see her direct something that the style of it has not been dictated by something before. Because I know Wonder Woman is its own sort of entity.
Like Star Wars?
Well,
Yeah.
in a way, yeah, it is true. But again, you had oh Christ, I forgot his name, Gareth Evans direct Rogue One, which did feel different.
Yeah.
But with the action, especially with Wonder Woman, which I did enjoy, but it's still like the style guide of Snyder. And I would like her to try and take something in her own light, when she's not really feeling the weight of the things that came before her.
I mean, in what way though? Because I mean, like Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 1984 are two very, very different looking films, and the general feel
the action of it is very much the same. You have the speed ramps, you have the slow motion, you have all that sort of stuff is pretty much exactly the same. The beats within the action scenes.
I felt that far more in the first one than I did. Maybe I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I felt that far more in the first one. The first one felt like, here is a style Bible. I didn't necessarily feel that with this one, but that's interesting.
And that's me.
Comic book correspondent Noel Mellor.
I think
watched this in what looked like a town hall.
yeah, it very much was. I live on the border of. I technically live in Tier 3, but I live on the border of Tier 2, and there was a nice little independent cinema in Macclesfield that I'd never been to before, so it was lovely in there. It was nice. It was an old converted school that had been turned into a cinema, and yeah, no, it was lovely. I'd go there again, definitely, if I'm ever allowed. Yeah, just, I mean, to pick up on what we were just discussing, I do think that the 1984 element of it did feel like it was used as an opportunity to get away from the style guide a little bit, as much as you can with something like this. I'd agree with Jordan that I think, there's a lot of similar moves in there, for example, and the speed ramping and stuff like that a lot of the stuff in the action is familiar. But I think in terms of the overall look and feel, it did feel like a step away from the Snyderverse, if you like. And I will say at the beginning as well, at the beginning of the film, once we've had the sort of flashback to I forgot what it's called, to the Amazon place. Once we've had that sort of flashback and we're suddenly in the 1980s and we're in a shopping mall and Wonder Woman is doing superhero stuff in the 1980s, I was like, oh great, this is perfect, this is just what I want, yeah, let's have more of this. But then it's sort of, apart from the general color palette, it sort of then ended up feeling like a bit of an excuse to just not try as hard. I think
the comedy came from poking at 1980s. That's all. Yeah, that's where all the comedy came from.
Yeah, and as with all these things, it's a very, very, very surface level version of the 1980s. It's very. Yeah,
that's it.
Look at the neon colours. Look at the pop socks. Yeah, and it wasn't very detailed. It wasn't very worthwhile. I'll come to the overall usage of 1980s as a theme because I think there's something there that they do, and I get why they did it. But it felt like an excuse to just be a little bit lazy. And I think that's the overall thing for me with this it's kind of lazy. I think I get that a lot of the stuff in there is referencing Richard Donner, but we've already had other versions of modern superhero movies referencing Richard Donner. It didn't feel like it was progressing superhero cinema. It felt like it was just treading water and doing quite simple things. There's stuff in there that did work. There's moments in there that did work. I think the flight stuff kind of worked. I think the idea of using the 1980s as a framework for, the answer is always more. I get it. I understand that why they did that, and I think it did kind of work a little bit. Tiny little parts of the Gal Gadot, Chris Pine stuff worked a little bit, but I keep coming back to the fact that this was a movie about a magic wishing stone, and the whole point of the film was to stop the magic wishing stone.
Yeah, I was going to say that. It's like there was all this speculation. Oh God, how did he come back?
How are they going to bring back a magic wishing stone? Yeah. And it's just that whole idea of like somebody's found a magic wishing stone somewhere, and when you make wishes, bad things happen. I mean, fucking hell, that is it's the most tired idea.
It's an episode of Charmed, or it's an episode of Buffy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
And I think for some of the things that it did right, for some of the action set pieces worked, getting away from the style guide and not having a third act that's smoke and dust and all that type of stuff. For all of the things that it did right, I keep coming back to the original problem that I've got with it is that it was very simple, very silly, and it used the 1980s aesthetic to get away with that and pull the wool over our eyes a little bit. And I don't think that's good for superhero movies. I think it's good for the next Wonder Woman movie, but it doesn't really feel like a progression. It just sort of feels a little bit lazy.
Yeah, okay, yeah. It's. I will say the fact I read a Twitter thing before seeing this that spoiled the magical wishing stone element, and that's why Steve Trevor comes back. And on the face of it, I was like, that sounds like the dumbest fucking shit. Like, for what it's driving the plot towards, like, I'm kind of okay with it, but it is fucking mental that a blockbuster in 2020 has a MacGuffin be a magical wishing stone.
Yeah. And it raises so many questions as well about, like, who is Chris Pine? Like, what? I mean, the Steve Trevor character. Like, what happens to that man? Like, when, like, I don't understand. Like, it raises so many questions. I can't get my head around. Is that Steve Trevor or is it that other man? And if so, what happens to that other man when Steve Trevor's being him? Like, none of it. I don't get it. Does anybody get that? Does anybody understand?
I think he's just booted out of his body, isn't he? It's
right.
Steve Trevor wearing that guy's body.
Yeah.
But what does he wake up?
Where is he then?
He's going, hey, that was part of all that shit that happened, and he's like, what?
Yeah.
Well, he, like, when Diana is kind of like running off before one of the greatest sequences in cinematic history, he says, "I'll always love you, Diana," in the other guy's voice. So it's yeah.
Shit. Right.
I'm pretty fucking certain. Like, you know, because it's a little bit of a callback to when he appears and he's like, you know, Diana, I wish we had more time, and it you know, so it's kind of like the reverse of that. So yeah, I think he probably just kind of like is a little bit, what the fuck am I doing here?
So I've got a question then. So what happens, for example, in 3 years' time, in 1987, when somebody turns around to that guy, whoever he is, and says, do you remember that time when everybody started making mad wishes and we all started getting what we wanted, and then there was a massive revolution and we all had to stop, all of us, every single one of us on the planet had to rescind our wish to fix the world. Do you remember that? Do you remember when that happened? And he's like, what the fuck are you on about?
I mean,
this sort of stuff, when you go back and you like, for example, there's not really any reason for this to be 1984. That's one of the issues as well, is because this exists already in the universe. Like, the repercussions of all of this will be seen in the following films, of course.
I mean, but
no.
What about that poor fucker who just wished for a coffee? It's just like, how the fuck's that gonna? Is he just gonna have piss inserted back into him or something? But at the end though, like, Max Lord's like
got back to his table and the top of the coffee cup fell off and just burned his cock.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. No, but I mean, like, Max Lord like rescinds his wish. So if he rescinded his wish,
the stone would come out of him, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like, first of all, he probably had to shit out the stone. But
it's a kidney stone, he had to piss it out.
That should have been the post-credit sequence.
Yeah.
Anything would have been better than that post-credit sequence.
Christ, it's coming!
I mean, but if nobody... So he rescinds his wish, which for me would then negate all the other wishes after he wished to be the stone, essentially. So the people beforehand, if they didn't rescind their wishes, they would still have those wishes. But those wishes were, I mean, like that one guy wished for the coffee. That was probably about it, eh?
Well, that's the thing. We have to see everybody rescind their wish, because I think, and this ties to what I was saying, the reason that they put this in the 1980s is because they wanted to be able to include lines like "the answer is always more," and they wanted to be able to address the fact that, you know, the 1980s were about greed. You could have anything you wanted, but there are consequences to having anything you wanted, and that's what the whole film's about. So I get it, but by having everybody in the world rescind their wish, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, because not everyone's going to do that, are they?
No.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, if it was just that he had to rescind his and then all the subsequent ones were negated, then fine. But yeah, it's just a bollocks, isn't it?
And the lady in the chippy, because all English people are racist.
Yeah.
100% get that, and I'll turn to Mark and Bex in just a second because I realise I haven't gone to them for their thoughts yet, but I 100% get that, and I get the feeling that thank you very much, that I'm probably going to be the most positive on this film out of the lot of us, I think, but it's the fact that at the end of the film, it's Diana basically going out there with that message that, you know, is essentially going out to the entire world. I know the practicalities of it are insane, but it's also a film called Wonder Woman 1984, so there's an element of it where I say fuck it. But it's going out to everyone, basically saying, look, the world is shit. We all have to deal with bollocks. But let's just do it. Let's just admit that we're going to have to live through it. So the film is like, yeah, everybody does rescind their wishes. And it doesn't make sense. But again, this is a film about a magical wishing stone. In the parlance of Patrick Willems, it's space wizards. It's so that but and that's the thing. I feel I can let that go because this film has one of the greatest cinematic sequences in history and a bunch of other shit I really enjoyed. So, that's fine. But Bex, your thoughts on Wonder Woman 1984?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a weird one. I didn't really like the first one, so I wasn't super psyched for the sequel anyway, but I do like Chris Pine, so, there's that. I really enjoyed it to start off with. Up to a point, it's very good fun, and the little 80s nods and things like that, I enjoyed that. Steve trying on the various different outfits, enjoyed that.
I could watch 2.5 hours of Chris Pine Pretty Woman in it.
Yeah,
I could watch that. So,
but then it all goes a bit DC in its preachy miserableness, and I just don't need that from a fucking comic book movie. I don't need Gal Gadot sitting there and fucking preaching really, really slowly to everybody about why they should rescind their wishes. It stops being fun, and it's about when Chris Pine goes, isn't it? When she goes and does her completely pointless fucking flying through the air with a magic flying whip.
Oh god, that was a sound.
So yeah, I enjoyed like the first part of it, and then it just really went downhill for me. And it was like when she was doing that monologue bit, like I was like, what did I take out of the freezer for dinner? Fucking hell, what are we having? And I just essentially it just went on too long, and I zoned out a bit, to be honest, with that bit. But I think what's his face, the baddie.
Pedro Pascal,
yeah.
Maxwell Lord, yeah.
Is very good as like the completely like the fact that he gradually gets more and more unhinged. It's very well done. Quite like Kristen Wiig in it, and her gradual kind of progression from totally buttoned up science lady to just skank, then to a cheater. Because she never actually wishes to be a cheater, does she? She wishes to be an apex predator, and it's like the Stones just fucking interpreted it and gone, yeah, cheater. Why?
I think Lord, has gone, cheater, why not?
Yeah.
But to be fair, it takes away the thing from you that you most cherish, and that's like essentially that's her humanity. It's her warmth. So you take away.
She's just really passionate about body hair removal, and it just fucks with her that way.
Yeah, all that. Why not?
for me was that her one thing that she loved more than anything was the fact that she fit in again. Whereas now she's a goddamn cheater. She's got to fit in anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, I just googled apex predator, and the first thing that comes up is a killer whale. That would have been way more interesting.
That would have been fantastic.
Now that I would watch again.
Right. that first bit when she jumps up the pile, it's just a big flop of a killer whale just hitting it.
Like in what's it, Hitchhiker's Guide, when the whale falls and it just goes.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, that would have been great.
And also her character, Kristen Wiig's character, and the fact that again, it seems to be so lazy. It's like the one thing that it was like, I want to be popular. It just felt so juvenile.
Yeah.
I think the one thing I will say is
shit out of all of you. I'm sorry. Doc.
I was just gonna say the one thing I will say is another thing that I think the film did right in terms of not necessarily doing something new, but doing something different to what we've seen more recently, was having, and it takes a little bit from the Raimi Spider-Man films, just having this idea of there's some people here in the middle, and they have a relationship with each other, and all of this action is spiraling out of that. The fact that Kristen Wiig knows Gal Gadot, and there's a relationship there, and Pedro Pascal is part of this. It felt a bit smaller, and it wasn't like there wasn't just some giant threat somewhere that had to be dealt with. It was all sort of spinning out of this. In some respects, some people would say that is often difficult to believe. I know that's an issue that people have had a lot in the past with Spider-Man films, in particular the Mark Webb ones. But I like the idea of going from Justice League to something that's a little bit more on a sort of, let's say, Ant-Man level, where there's a group of people and all of this action and terror is spinning out of things that they are all dealing with, and I think the fact that for a long part of the film, Kristen Wiig's character is friends with Gal Gadot, and she only really becomes not the big bad, but the semi big bad quite far into the film. So it allows you to understand their relationship and kind of get to like their relationship and see how they're being prized apart a little bit. So I think it does, like I say, it does stuff right. I think Chris Pine is fine, although a lot of his stuff is just look at the funny trousers. I think Kristen Wiig was great in it. I think she was probably the best thing in it, although I'd say Pedro Pascal as well. As always, I could have taken a little bit more Robin Wright. So I think there was a lot of good stuff in there, and the people involved were doing decent work. It just needs some work on the fucking story.
Mark.
I think I'm closer to you, Ian, than I am to everybody else.
Thank God.
In the sense that I really like I don't need to see anything else set on female Wakanda or whatever it is. Amazonia, is it called?
It's not called that, but I can't remember it off the top of my head.
I don't need to see any more there. We've
You
had
just
that.
call it female Wakanda.
Yes.
Right, okay.
I don't need any more of that, right?
I don't know if that's sexist or racist, but it's one of them.
It was an impressive go. Yeah, Jesus.
Themyscira, Mark. Themyscira.
That place. The third Genesis album. But then when it drops you into the 80s, and it very much is trying to look like an 80s movie, I think, like you said, no, I was like, all right, now this could be a lot of fun. And the fact that first kind of heist bit, you've got like an almost 80s genre bad guy who's running around just wiggling his head an awful lot. He's wiggling his head and seeming very excited that he's robbing somewhere. I quite liked that. It then evoked sort of like that, that early scene in Commando that's set in the shopping mall and everything swinging around and shit like that. So I was down with that. And I didn't really get on with the first Wonder Woman movie. I don't see why everybody thought it was that good, to be honest. And I think overall with this, I absolutely agree. I think the story is weak, but I kind of like the fact that it's a magic wishing stone. I like that because why the fuck not? I prefer that than it be anything more. What is it? I also like the fact that the film itself almost calls out how shit an idea it is by Chris Pine's character going, oh, it's like the monkey's paw. And it's like halfway through filming it, they went, why didn't we just use a fucking monkey's paw? And we could have gone, wait a minute, this monkey paw thing's real. And that would have worked. It would have been as stupid, but at least it would have made sense. The fucking Pedro Pascal Trumpiness of it was too much of a fucking... We get it. That started to irk me a little bit throughout it. The dynamics of how that worked, I found a little bit weird. They seemed to play a little bit loosey-goosey with that, with how he decided and how the stone thing decided what was wishes. At the start of it, literally, he had to hold on to somebody and get them to say, I wish. By the end of it, he had to just literally put his hand on them and go, you want this to happen, don't you? And they go, well, maybe. And he'd go, brilliant, there you go, I'm having your dick and your facial hair. And then he went off the guy and go, what the fuck are you doing?
You can see what's important to Mark. Brilliant, I'm having your dick and your facial hair.
That was a deep insight into my shallow soul. I have a better ending for this movie. So wait.
I'm sorry, I just had to mute my mic. That was fucking perfect. Well done, Dom.
It's kind of accurate though. I have a better ending for the movie that I thought it was something else. You know, when she's doing the monologue, and it's got all the monologue and everything like that. I thought at this point when she goes, "I'm not talking to you," I thought it was going to cut to a scene of his kid because his kid wished to have what he has.
Greatness, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I thought it was going to cut to a scene of the kid, and the kid was going to essentially say, "Daddy, I want you to stop," and that was going to be the end of it. And I thought that's really fucking quite clever because they've said that earlier on and they've gone nowhere with it so far.
Yeah.
And that, all right, I'm all right with that. And then they don't. It's just she's talking to everybody.
Yeah, and she just carries on for another 30 minutes.
Well, that's why this movie's 2.5 hours long, because Gal Gadot speaks incredibly slowly. Right? Another negative, but I'm going to get to my positives in a minute.
I think my alternate ending to the film is better, though.
What? The one where literally as that guy who no one will believe is not CG created, who is Steve Trevor, real life Steve Trevor.
He's not a real person.
Walks off. What was your ending there, Becky?
She just turns to him and says, "I've ridden your dick," and then walks away.
Yep.
Nice.
That's a bit rapey, really, when you think about it, isn't it? She has, and he had no way to consent to that. It was his body.
That is true.
With her ghost boyfriend possessing it.
It is a little odd, yes.
Yeah.
You know the big action sequence along that big strip of road in Egypt.
It's going to be about the children.
It is going to be about the children. Right. So
Yes, I'd forgotten about those children. Yes, go on.
Right, is she's got to save those kids, right? Yeah. Why aren't those kids just getting out of the way? They are playing on a road for a start off, but they have a lot of time to get out of the way.
Yeah, it's a lot of time.
And one of those parents should literally go, wait, kids.
No. They couldn't see the convoy of army trucks that were coming towards them because of all the buildings that were there. Oh wait, no, it was a desert.
Nope. Literally a desert. So there's all that. But take away all of that, I do think that the movie is fun overall. And I'm thinking back on it, and with these sort of movies, I look back after it and go, right, would I watch it again? Yeah, I will absolutely watch that again. Would I watch the first Wonder Woman movie again? God, no. But this one, I would, because it's it is overall fun, and it allows itself to be a bit playful, and it is a bit silly, and I kind of quite like that it's a little bit silly. And Kristen Wiig getting to fully wig out was quite cool. So yeah.
When did you think that one up?
Oh, like when she cast. Literally been starring that one away. Ian, you really liked this, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I liked the message of the film an awful lot, as I think I alluded to earlier on. It feels like a film where they were like, do you know what? DC aren't really making us shovel in a load of stuff to set up future films. We can just kind of do our own thing.
I thought you were going to say, do you know what? DC don't really know what the fuck they're doing, so let's just make a movie we want to make.
Well, but I mean, to be fair, I think there's an element of that.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
And, and it's like, fuck it, let's have a magical wishing stone, which I think the context in which they explain it within the film, I think works. Like the whole, civilizations crumbled whenever this thing appeared because it got in the hands of a leader who just wanted more and would never renounce it, and so the civilization was destroyed. I think, do you know what? All right, then, fair enough. I think the whole kind of like destabilization of the world through the film is like really well done. Like the whole kind of the guy wishing that his people would reclaim that land, and then what that actually means in practical terms. Not a million miles away from let's take back control. And then you look at the confluence of circumstances that are leading to Farage's garage in Kent at the moment. It's which it obviously wasn't intended. I think that it's got some interesting shit going on in it, which unfortunately does have some silly stuff around it as well. I will say, I think that Patty Jenkins is putting a metaphorical dick on the table and saying, look at my fucking budget, right at the start there, with that sweeping Thurmaskewer, or whatever it's called, stuff. I thought that stuff was great.
Female Wakanda, I think it's called.
Female Wakanda, yeah. Jesus Christ.
Can I say one thing as well? Patty Jenkins loves a shot where things are running towards the screen and the camera goes the opposite way. How many times that happens is ridiculous.
Oh, but I think that's fun stuff personally. I don't know. I mean, like, it feels to me like Wonder Woman was a film where she was being kind of told what to do, but being allowed to get like the performances that she wanted to get and whatnot. Wonder Woman 1984 feels like her film for better or worse, and it feels like a film which is trying to be hopeful and it's trying to be optimistic. It's got some old school flavour to it, and does it all necessarily work in 2020? Maybe not, but for me, subjectively, it worked. And the boner on the cake is the flight sequence where the music starts, and I'm thinking,
yeah,
Hans is going a little bit fucking derivative here, isn't he? Like, okay. And then it builds, so it's like, right, if this next note is what I think it is, then it's Boner Jams 2020, and then it was. And I don't know whose choice it was, but I fucking love the idea that someone, Hans Zimmer or someone else, went, what is the perfect music for this sequence? Oh, it's nothing I can do. Let's get the music from Sunshine and let's put it in this fucking film to really fucking ram home how dramatic and fucking earth-shattering this is for Diana. And I mean that music has been used in multiple things in the past since Sunshine. But I thought the combination of the music and the imagery, I mean, and Bex, fair play, you didn't get anything out of this sequence. But for me, her fucking like weird melancholy rage when she goes up in the sky there, and then her flying, and then the riding the lightning. I you know, I obviously I'm fucking in the tank for this, but I thought it was rather fucking staggering.
I'm with you on that.
I'll agree with you on that. I think purely from the perspective of comic book fan watching that part of Wonder Woman be a thing, you know, because in some contexts Wonder Woman can't fly, in other contexts she can, but obviously we've not seen it in this. We've seen her do stuff that's pretty close to flying, like jumping, leaping tall buildings in a single bound and all that type of thing, but like the actual introduction of flight in this, first off, as in that sequence and how that sequence works, I think it was beautifully done. I think it was really nicely done. Secondly, how it's done in the context of how she explains that, you know, she's never quite understood it, and it's the thing that powers Steve Trevor and stuff like that. How all that connected, I did really like that. I thought that was great. That worked really well for me. So yeah, no, I definitely agree that as a comic book fan, seeing that come to life worked really well and was handled really well.
Oh, one thing I didn't mention, actually, very much enjoyed her making the jet plane invisible. That was nice.
That was literally my next point, was that I didn't need to see the invisible plane. There we go. Different strokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing though. I mean, I think it is a case where it is different strokes. You know, I mean, like the reviews online are kind of all over the place for this. When the initial kind of tweets came out, it was people talking about how fucking incredible it was, and then predictably, as the reviews have come out, it's been like, do you know what? There are other opinions here. But I have seen some calling it like a major disappointment, and I don't know. I don't know what people were necessarily expecting, but
No, yeah,
the story is silly. It's silly, and it's been a while since we've had a comic book movie where it's been silly, but maybe not really quite acknowledged that it's silly.
But that's it. I think I've got the feeling I've been overly negative on it. But I think that is the silliness of it. But I gave it 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd because it did pretty much exactly what I thought it was going to do. But there was elements within it that I just thought, yeah, like the Wishing Stone, like when that got brought to someone higher up in Warner Brothers or DC, they should have said, think of something better, because that is just ridiculous to have nowadays. It really is. Like the fact that the entire film, like for example, like I actually thought, because there's a whole sort of thing played around about like, oh, it's an evil god, and I know they probably couldn't go down that road again with like a god who is possessing a human, but I thought that's where I thought it was going to go. Like the god that created the stone was going to come into it somehow.
But we don't. But this is the thing. There's a lot of stuff out there that can be done. There's a lot, and I feel like I'm repeating myself, but there are a lot of great stories out there that can be told, whether they're Wonder Woman stories or they're other stories. There are a lot of great things that have happened in comics for decades and decades and decades that we can tap into. When it comes down to writing a script for a comic book movie, and you come up with the idea of a magical stone, somebody needs to go, you know what, I think people might be a little bit bored of magical stones. We've had a few of them recently. That's the point where you have to sort of go, it recognize that people thought Wonder Woman, the first film, was great. How do we make that better? How do we make that smarter? How do we progress superhero cinema and female-fronted superhero cinema as well? How do we make that better? How do we do better? Rather than just relying on old tropes from the Richard Donner superhero days and getting away with silly things like wishing stones because it's the 1980s, how do we make that better? And I think that's they've not done that. The overall thing for me that I would agree with when it comes down to the reviews is that I do think this is a better film than the first Wonder Woman movie, but I kind of think that's damning with fake praise a little bit as well.
Sure.
What I wanted this to be was, the first Wonder Woman movie's fine. The first couple of the first two acts are fine, and then it sort of, we know what it devolves into after that. This was an opportunity for me to recognize, for Patty Jenkins to recognize how important that film is seen to have been and how well received that film was, and go, all right, let's build on that and do something truly great. And they didn't. They made a superhero movie that probably could have been made 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if how high on it I am. Well, I have been, is also just because I was watching this big film in a cinema, first big film I'd seen in a cinema in a while, and also kind of knowing in the back of my mind, don't know when I'm going to be able to do this again. And I kind of wonder whether I just got more enjoyment out of it for that. But
there's nothing wrong with that, though. I mean, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. And I mean, like, it's just I really, really enjoyed my 2.5 hours with this, and I'm looking forward to watching it again. And the magical wishing stone stuff, for me, they get away with the explanation of what it is, but yeah, it's a magic. The thing is, it for those who haven't seen it and are just listening to the spoilery stuff, we're not just taking the piss. It's literally a magical wishing stone.
But again, I think the reason they get away with that is because they're going for the tone of a 1980s Superman movie, where it's perfectly feasible that Gene Hackman could have got hold of a magical wishing stone. And you know what I mean? Like the fact that they set it in the 1980s and they built it around the idea of greed and wanting more and stuff like that allows them to get away with a magical wishing stone. And I just wish we weren't trying to get away with things now. I wish we were progressing things and doing better things.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, you enjoyed it for what it was and seeing it in the cinema and stuff like that. I'm always overly critical of this stuff, and I always end up coming on this podcast and going, well, this was fucking bullshit, and then 6 months later going, oh, actually, I really quite like this, maybe it was a little bit too harsh.
Do you know what, though? If we can just get back to a reality where we all see Venom Let There Be Carnage in the cinema and just go, that was fucking awful. Jesus Christ, what the fuck was that? Why did I bother going to see that in the cinema? Then we'll know that 2021 has righted itself.
Well, there's a strong chance that the next time I'm on your podcast, it'll be for Morbius, so that day could come pretty soon.
Shit, yeah, that's March, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're right. Oh, man. Yeah. Feels like we're wrapping up. Has anyone got anything else to say? If I'm just going to say definitely not shit, and then the floor is yours.
Definitely not shit.
Oh,
It's definitely not shit for me. I enjoyed the first part of it well enough to have enjoyed it overall, I think.
I'm going to go touching cloth myself.
I mean, I give it 3 out of 5, so that for me on average is definitely not shit. But it does have a little bit of poking through.
Well, our audience poll, definitely shit 71%, touching cloth 21%, and shit 7%.
Is poking through not literally the definition of touching cloth?
It hasn't quite
Not
came
quite
out
that.
of the cheeks.
See,
Right.
I refer to that as Turtle's Head. Maybe you need Turtle's Head as a category.
No more ratings.
Yeah, it's sliding out, but it hasn't escaped the cheeks in touching cloth yet.
Yeah.
We're not introducing the rating for 2.75 out of 5.
We're splitting turds there, guys.
Splitting turds. Nice.
CS3P Combat. Player 1, choose your character.
Tired of film and television podcasts where the hosts exist in a blissful state of agreement?
Instructor. Player 2, choose your character.
Well, you're in luck.
Punter. Round 1, fight!
Allow me to introduce you to the Chinstroker vs Punter podcast, featuring 2 film and television fans from Birmingham, England, who enjoy their media in very different ways.
But anyway, that brings us to the end of the plot of Blue Velvet.
The plot.
I mean, the main characters are 2 of the dullest main characters I have ever encountered in any film.
So join us as we catch up on what we've been watching from our own very different perspectives.
Double KO. Round 2, fight!
You can find us at csvsp.libsyn.com, also on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, all the places that podcasts can be found.
Just really
It's not visually striking.
No.
Just getting confirmation.
It's just inning. That's the 3rd time though. I mean, is this on?
Have you ever wondered what so-called family films will scar your kids forever? Putting 4 or 5-year-olds in front of this movie, it's like, if they didn't know what death was before this, they're going to know it after it.
They're going to know it after it, and they're going to be freaking terrified.
And they're going to be questioning you.
Yeah.
Or do you have the slight suspicion that your loved one has a cold, dead heart?
Yeah, the Dark Knight has got like all the orphans, and like, oh no, we're going to die. They did not build up those orphans at all. In my head, it's like, kill them.
Then look no further. The His Film Her Movie podcast is the show for you. It's the movie podcast that celebrates the contrasting cinematic tastes of its hosts. So join Jordan and Lauren every week on their unique journey through the land of the silver screen. So if you're looking for a few laughs, some fun film related chat, then get involved. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts.
The man come in here, call you a boy, tell you to get up off your ass and rehearse it. You ain't had nothing to say except, yes, sir.
I can say yes, sir, to whoever I please. What you got to do with it? I know how to handle white folks. I've been handling them for 32 years. Now you gonna tell me how to do it? Just because I say yes, sir, don't mean I'm spooked up by him. I know what I'm doing. Let me handle it my way.
Well, go on and handle it then.
Toledo, you're always messing with somebody. Always agitate somebody with that old philosophy bullshit you be talking. You stay out of my way about what I do and say. I'm my own person. Just let me alone.
All right, Levy, you right. I apologize. Ain't none of my business you spooked up by the white man.
All right, see, that's the shit I'm talking about. Y'all back up and leave Levy alone.
Oh, come on, Levy. We was all just having fun. Toledo ain't said nothing about you. He ain't said about me. You just taking it all wrong.
Ain't meant nothing bad, Levy.
Levy got to be Levy. You don't need nobody messing with him about the white.
George, I mean, with Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, would you like us to just go non-spoiler?
Sure. Honestly, just do what you do. I mean, I'll probably end up watching it, but maybe not for 6 months, so I'll probably forget whatever.
Yeah, okay, we'll get into it. Yeah, we'll get into it. Okay, so everybody ready?
Yeah. Is the spoiler that is actually a white bottom?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. It turns out the bottom that they're referring to is that actually Oprah Winfrey.
Wow.
She makes a surprise last minute cameo. And I think my mind is thrown right. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I think I'm back. Am I back?
You're back.
I'm back. Okay. I actually might turn off my video, and Jord, I love seeing your visage, so don't feel the need to. But I'm going to turn it off for now, just because I think my bandwidth's being a bit nutty. Lottie's playing Minecraft on her iPad with a couple of friends, so I think my router's having a fun time with that. So let's go. Let's do some Black Bottom. Right, we're here. God knows what order this show's going to be. It's going to be a fucking hot mess. So Jord is here, Noel's not here, and we're recording this bit before the start. So that you would have just heard was a clip from Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, or a trailer from Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. It's very hard with Netflix films to find clips online sometimes, because if it's not like one of their big deal ones, you'll get the trailer, but that's about it. But if it's one of their big deal ones, then you'll find all sorts of stuff. Now, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, I think, is probably one of their big deal ones, but I don't know. We shall find out. But yeah, if you ever wanted to know why sometimes it's a trailer and why sometimes it's a clip, it's basically because of that. But this is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. It is directed by George C. Wolfe and stars Viola Davis, Chadwick Boseman, Coleman Domingo, Glyn Turman, and Michael Potts. It's the story of a recording session for a new album by Ma Rainey, played by Viola Davis, who is a tricky character who has an awful lot of demands and whatnot. And it alternates between her and her backing band, and in particular character Levi, played by Chadwick Boseman, a trumpeter who thinks he's ready for the big time. He thinks he's hot shit, but is he cold diarrhea? Becky, what did you think of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom?
Do you know what? I really enjoyed it. To be fair, it's chaotic, and situations escalate incredibly quickly.
It literally is a visual embodiment of, wow, that escalated quickly.
Yeah. It's quite jarring when you're watching it. It's just like, it's a very like chill, ambiguous situation, and then everyone's kind of like up near the roof shouting and screaming at each other after about 20 seconds. But it's very, very well performed. Like everyone that's in it is very good. And I think that it saves it. I think with weaker performances, with that kind of rapid switch in tone that happens like a few times, to be fair, through the film, I think you'd just be like, this is bobbins. But it's saved by the performances.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Mark?
You're very well aware that it's based on a play, is what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't think that was that bad in this one. Like, if we're comparing it to the other one that we watched earlier this year, that was
190 Mile, mate.
Yeah,
but you see, I don't think that was that evident in that, which is quite strange. But I think I'll rephrase what I mean there. It's more the bits with the band feel very much like they're a play.
Yeah.
Whereas the Ma Rainey bits, the downstairs bits feel like they're a band, and the upstairs bits feel more film-wise there.
Yeah, true, yeah.
I was actually quite surprised at how little Ma Rainey's actually in it. It should be called Levy Green's Wandering Trumpet or something like that. Because
that's pretty appropriate. Yeah.
Yeah. He's the main character.
She's very good as Ma Rainey though. Like the kind of vibe that comes off her is like palpable.
Yeah.
Like you would not fuck with Ma Rainey.
But it's one of the things I think Viola Davis, and I always say anytime we talk about Viola Davis in anything, Viola Davis has quietly been the best thing in anything she's in for 20 years without people really ever realising.
Yeah.
And she continues to be incredible here. But yeah, it's the thing is, you look at Chadwick Boseman now, and knowing what we know now, you do look at it and go, geez, he does not look well. It's quite jarring.
It is, yeah, because obviously other stuff he's been in, he's got
a physicality to himself, and it's not there. He's very, very good in it, but it does, I think like you said there, Bex, it does go from like
0 to
2 to 11 really quickly in those scenes, and I am watching going, I can see why this would work really well in a play, but there's maybe the weird thing is it's 94 minutes long, and I don't think this movie needs to only be 94 minutes long. I usually say the opposite of what I'm saying now. And later on we talk about...
You're a big fan of the 90-minute movie,
not later on, earlier on when I spoke about, or later on when I spoke about another film, I'll have either said or I will say that it should have been a bit shorter.
Yeah.
But I could have watched another 20 minutes of this, just kind of fleshing out the characters a little bit more.
Well, and allowing the situations that do escalate to escalate at like a...
I kind of wanted
more natural
one of the other band guys just to go to him. Whoa, chill out, bruh. Because it does go off a little bit. It's very. The problem is the film. It's very, very good. It's just tonally a little bit spiky.
It's whiplash. That's what it is. It's just you're settling into it, and then bang, here comes Chadwick Boseman with an incredibly sad monologue.
Yeah.
And then bang, here's Viola Davis entertainingly giving her manager shit. You know, and it's constantly like just all over the place, which I think, and it does feel theatrical. That's the thing. It feels like on the stage, all this kind of like heightened stuff with the live energy of seeing those people there, I think may, especially the ending, may work better than seeing it on film, where I went to see it with my friend Paul on the trip that led to him having to self-isolate for 10 days. And again, I'm so sorry, Paul. I swear to God I wasn't symptomatic on the fucking day, buddy, and you know that. And he dealt with it like a trooper. But I looked at him and was just like, fucking hell. Like, wow. Like, blimey. You know, and he was just like, yeah. Just... We both left it a bit just like, I don't quite know how to process that, because that film, like you said, is the definition of that escalated quickly.
You don't want to be standing on Chadwick Boseman's shoes.
Oh, fuck. Jesus fucking Christ, do not stand on that man's shoes. But no, I mean, like, the physicality of him, it's bizarre. It's like he was preparing for a role as a marathon runner or something like that, you know, like, it's weird, because if you didn't know the context, it would just be like, fucking hell, he's got like 0% body fat, that must be for a role.
Yeah, that's what you said, didn't you, Bex? You'd say, if you didn't know the story of what was going on in this, didn't know the story of the film like that, you didn't, and it wasn't what sadly had happened to Chadwick Boseman, you would be watching it going, right, when's it going to come out that he's a heroin addict?
Yeah.
And that's that, you know. But it would have done. You'd have been constantly looking at that, because it's such it's noticeable.
It's an odd one, because obviously everyone that was working with him at the time and stuff has been coming out saying, you know, he kept it so close to his chest, nobody knew, and it's like, how?
It's. I mean, it's sad because he's very good.
Really good in it, yeah.
Yeah, he is.
I do think there's a little bit too much. He bounces a little bit too much, but I don't think that's him. I think that's the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the material that he's being asked to perform. It's not necessarily this. And just going back to the previous point, you guys were talking about the theatricality of it. I think the difference with One Night in Miami is there's quite a long section in One Night in Miami before they all meet up. And then it does get like, yeah, okay, I could see how this is like based on a play. But before that, you're setting up the characters. You're in different places. The camera's moving around more. And then at the end with One Night in Miami, you got that Sam Cooke bit, which is fucking sensational. Here, yeah, it's the stuff with the band in the room where it is just like, yeah, you can see how that's a stage play. But I don't know. I mean, like, I wasn't wowed by Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I might have been mildly disappointed, in fact, but but then again, I think that's maybe because of what I thought it was going to be going in. And I thought it was basically going to be like Chadwick Boseman versus Viola Davis throughout like the entire thing. Yeah, and I was ready for that drama.
I was a little bit like that. I was about sort of, because you going aware that it's only 94 minutes long. I got about 40 minutes into it and was like, hang on a minute, is this all set in this place? It must be. All right. This is a lot smaller scale than it was, and I'll be honest, I didn't know it was based on a play at that point, and I thought this must be based on a play. And so when we paused at one point to grab a drink or something, I quickly checked and was like, yes, all right, that makes sense to me now. I can box that off. That it doesn't just feel like a play; it's based on a play. That makes sense.
Yeah, I like that about it though.
That's fine. I don't think it's a problem for it, but I think it does. You can certainly feel that towards it. But then I think the musical numbers don't go on long enough.
Yeah.
You never get a full musical number out of it. No. It's always like bits of a musical number.
Oh no, you do get one.
Yeah.
When they play Black Bottom and it turns out they haven't actually recorded it when she finishes.
I don't think you get the full version of it though.
Do you not?
No, I don't think you get the full version of it. But then you've got great moments like that kid with the stutter trying to do the intro to it, and you when he gets it right, you are genuinely really happy for him.
It's like an air punch moment, isn't it?
But it's the fact that they all...
Yeah, Sylvester, woo!
The fact that they all stop for a second and then realise, shit, we need to go now.
Yeah. It's interesting because it's basically Denzel Washington produced this, and he's looking to adapt all of August Wilson's Pittsburgh cycle. And like get them on the big screen. So Fences was one of them, and so is Ma Rainey, and there's quite a few more.
It had a big deal with HBO, didn't they?
Oh, I don't know, really.
They had a deal with HBO to do, I think it was 10 of these, and Fences was the first, and then Ma Rainey was supposed to be the second, I believe. And then, that ended up getting bought out by Netflix instead.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'd like to see more of these because it's top quality stuff. I mean, I will say I prefer Fences. I suppose there's more meat on the bone there.
Fences, I think Fences is a little bit underrated. I think it kind of got a little forgotten about. I think it's a really fucking good film.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
At the same time as something else similarly themed that stole its thunder a bit.
I think it just came out. It came out just a little bit meekly. It didn't like burst out or anything like that. I think I don't think it quite got the fair traction it should have got.
I mean, it was nominated for Best Picture.
Viola Davis won Best Supporting Actress for it, didn't she?
Yeah, that sounds right. Oh fucking hell! Was it the Moonlight year?
It could have been, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the Moonlight year. I'm just trying to fucking go on Google, you fucking twat. Right. Moonlight, La La Land, Arrival, Lion, Hell or High Water, Hidden Figures, Hacksaw Ridge, Manchester by the Sea, and Fences were the nominees that year.
Yeah, Viola Davis won for Best Supporting Actress in it.
That's a fucking good year, that.
That is a very good year.
Wow. Yeah.
Picture this year, Mark.
What's it? Spencer Confidential.
Yeah.
Yep.
You still on the Spencer Confidential train, are you, bud?
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
Matt Wahlberg, best actor, Spencer Confidential.
No.
And then literally, he's going to walk up and he's going to announce the next 2 Spencer Confidential movies.
Yeah.
And everyone will just go, do you know what?
Yeah.
Everything's going to be all right.
Yeah.
Spencer's got this covered.
You're an odd duck.
Spencer Confidential was this year.
Yeah.
Fucking Underwater was this year. That blew my mind.
Yeah, Underwater was this year.
Every time I remember that, it's like, whoa, what the fuck?
It does. It literally, last January feels like it was like 6 weeks ago and 6 years ago at weirdly exactly the same time.
Yeah. It feels like we've run out of steam on Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
It's very good, but it's maybe not quite as good as I thought it was gonna be.
I think as well, given that it's Chadwick Boseman's last film that's going to be released, you kind of really wanted it to be better as well, didn't you? To be like a.
But he's very good in it. Yeah. However, he breaks into that room that he's been trying to get in, breaks that door that he's been trying to get through for the entire film, and then nothing comes of it.
It's just an empty room.
Yeah. It's basically a. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bit of an anticlimax, that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole point to that, because that's around about the same point that the he goes up to the producer and he's like, I'll pay you X amount of dollars, whatever it was, isn't it? It's about that. Oh, hello.
Hello.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I'm back. Yeah.
Yeah. Our audience poll. I'm definitely not shit on it.
Yeah.
It's definitely not shit. And our audience poll was definitely not shit 71% and touching cloth 29%.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can as well.
It is definitely not shit. It just, I think I expected something a little bit different. I think it's maybe that rather than it not being quite as good as I hoped it would be.
That's fucking on you.
That's my fault. Yeah, that's my fault.
I'll tell you what as well, as a messy bitch who lives for the drama, as I'm now styling myself, I'm kind of... the best actor race is going to be fascinating next year, considering it's essentially dead black man Chadwick Boseman versus old white man Anthony Hopkins. That's something.
It's going to be Chadwick Boseman.
It's going to be Chadwick Boseman. It's going to be. Could you imagine if it wasn't? Fucking hell.
And you can imagine that Hopkins will be completely unaware of the fact that nobody will like it if he wins, and will literally go up and be talking about it and be looking out in the fucking crowd for Chadwick, going, "Where's Chadwick?" And someone will whisper in his ear and he'll go, "Oh, that's unfortunate," and then wander off because he seems to live on a fucking different planet.
Are we talking about for the father for Hopkins?
Yeah.
Yes.
It does look good, doesn't it?
I'm very much looking forward to that. Can I also say that Ma Rainey's Black Bottom gave us one of the best photos Twitter has had this year?
What's that?
The photo that Viola Davis posted of her working out to lose the weight that she put on for Ma Rainey's, where you look at it and go, damn.
Yeah, it's a bit of a damn one, isn't it?
That woman is in her late 50s.
She's got spectacular hair.
She's magnificent.
She is.
Right. Noel is incoming. Or at least he should be.
He's just nipping to the bathroom.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. I don't know why I needed to shout out the podcast.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll love that. Thanks.
What we've been watching, I'm minded to throw to Noel and George first, just in case they want to get off, because I realise what the time is. So, George, what have we got for... What have you been watching recently, man?
Well, I've actually got quite a few, which is very, very strange for me. Well, I'll start with... I've been doing a bit more of a 2020 catch-up, but I'll start with a film that is not from 2020, but is kind of fitting regarding the fact that we've just got the announcement of Aquaman, Ant-Man 3, and he directed the finale of The Mandalorian Season 2, Peyton Reed. And I watched, rewatched, I remember watching this film years back, but the 2003 romantic comedy Down with Love,
Nice.
starring Renée Zellweger, Ewan McGregor, and
was that Peyton Reed?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
And I genuinely think that if this film was made 50 to 60 years before that it would be considered a classic.
I can agree with that.
It has the whole screwball element, the comedy, the really nice charm to it. You could see Ewan McGregor being a Clark Gable or a Cary Grant. You can see Renée Zellweger being a Rosalind Russell or a Doris Day or even like a Katharine Hepburn type. And just by switching those two people out, you can definitely, I could see it being seen as a classic because the sexual politics going on in that film is so funny. And what I kind of also like is you've got David Hyde Pierce in there as sort of like the bumbling best friend, and Sarah Paulson and people like that, and they all just shine. Ewan McGregor is on top form. He is very, very good as what's his name? Catch something. Whatever. But yeah, it's so brilliant and just enjoyable. And I'll start my 2020s, right? So again, a film that I can't believe came out this year, but it did, is The Personal History of David Copperfield.
Oh my God, that's not this year.
It came out
January, mate.
24th of January.
Double billed that motherfucker with The Grudge.
And to be honest, it's only been an overly positive thing for me this week because, yeah, The Personal History of David Copperfield is an absolute joy. It is. It showcases Dev Patel as being that he should be a bigger star than he is. It's a funny and dry and sarcastic, but not in a typical Iannucci way. It isn't too, although I do like Iannucci, and when I think of it, he's still genius. But it has a very warm heart to this movie, and I love the way he unfolds the story and the sort of jumpiness regarding it's kind of sketch comedy in a way. It feels knitted together. But yeah, I really did enjoy that movie. Next up, what should I talk about? I watched The Nest. This is Sean Durkin's follow-up, feature film follow-up to Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene. And
let's go. Sorry, I'm very excited for this.
With Jude Law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
for this one.
It is.
So not the 1988 film The Nest about a series of giant cockroaches that take over a small town.
No.
Okay.
So this stars Jude Law, Carrie Coon, as a married couple. It's set in the 1980s, and they're living in New York City, where Jude Law one morning says he's an investment banker, or he deals with shares and trades and whatever. But he says it needs a bit of a different scene. So he's like, I want to move back to England. They do so. They buy this huge country mansion, and Jude Law, Carrie Coon, and their two kids live there. And things start to go a little bit awry. And I mean, for those who have seen Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene, there's a certain tone to that movie. And even like with Southcliffe, the TV show that he did for Channel 4 a few years after that, it is all about the atmosphere. And it's not particularly complex or anything like that. It has some vibes in there where you think it might be going down an avenue where it could be supernatural, but it really just showcases, again, we're talking about the 80s, we're talking about greed, and we're talking about wanting more and living a life a bit more extravagant than the ones you have. And yeah, it's done so well, and this fractured family that it portrays is wonderful. Carrie Coon is incredible, Jude Law the same, and yeah, The Nest is definitely worth a definitely worth a watch when it does, or when you get the chance to. I want to do these in order of which I liked next. So the next one is another 2020 film, and it is Eliza Hittman's Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. And this is the story of a 17-year-old woman who gets pregnant by mistake, and because of where she lives in Pennsylvania, she's unable to get an abortion without parental consent. So her and a cousin go on a bit of a road trip to New York City to get that abortion. So this is obviously a comedy.
Comedy of the year, mate. Yeah, I was going to say.
But this, it's a very affecting film. And yes, it does sound like a bit misery porn. And to be honest, it does go down that avenues, but it goes down that avenues because it has to. But it doesn't just showcase that story of being young and not wanting to be a mother, but it shows the female experience, especially the young female experience, that kind of makes you reflective in a way, because I mean it's just the ickiness of it. And maybe me as a male who is unintentionally ignorant to some things, like, you don't understand just how horrible men can sometimes be to women. And it's not really even in a hurtful way, but just it made me think about actions that I've done in the past, and like, have I ever been that horrible without even knowing it? But what it really, yeah.
Get in. He's not.
It really puts that front and center, and there's certain things that happen within the film that are just sort of washed over regarding the plot. But in any other sort of life, you would think it would be like a sort of personality defining event. But the way it's showcased is like it's something that happens on the regular, which if it's true, and again, I'd hate for anybody. I mean, you've all got daughters to watch this and think that, but it is really true. It's really, really troubling and really scary film as well. But the scene that gets where it gets its title from, Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, is probably the best scene that I've seen this year. And the way it's filmed, it's very calm, but it's quite disturbing. And yeah, it's a film that'll stay with you for quite a while.
What's that on, Jord?
It's on iTunes and shit, innit? You can rent it.
Okay.
And the next one that I want to talk about is the best film that I've seen this week, and it'll probably be up there for the films that I've seen this year. And it is Kelly Reichardt's First Cow. And this is the story of a chef, Otis Cookie Figowitz, who is a chef traveling through early 1800s America with a group of fur trappers, where he comes across a Chinese immigrant who's on the run for killing a man. And we sort of jump forward in time where you see the Chinese man escape because he allows him to stay in his camp, and they sort of reunite a bit later in the town, and we find out that the leader of this town has had a cow delivered, and this is the first cow delivered to this part of America that sort of like there's ever been. And being a chef, they start to steal the milk, and Cookie starts to basically make these biscuits and sell it. And it seems, again, a very simple story. It is a simple story, and it's very simply told, but it is a lovely, gentle, comforting watch. Like, it is like Kelly Reichardt makes a certain brand of films, and if you're on with that brand and you like it, then I think you'll get a bit out of this. But if you don't, it's very slow, it's very laborious, but I kind of like the calmness within it. I mean, you do get drama, and it does amp up towards the end, but it is so much about the relationship between Cookie and King Lu, who is the Chinese immigrant, and just those seeing an opportunity to try and better themselves, because what it is really about, it's about these peasants, and it's all about, well, we can't get a foot within the economical ladder, if you will, so because of our station, because we have no money, so they see the opportunity of getting this and then creating a bit more money so they can actually start to have their business. And I mean, I know it's been turned up on loads of top 10s of the year lists that I've seen, and rightly so, because it is a wonderful, wonderful film.
I didn't get on with Meek's Cut-Off at all, so am I going to have trouble with this?
I think it's a little bit more open than Meek's Cut-Off. If you get through the first sort of maybe 20 minutes, I think you'll get on with it.
Okay, cool. Okay, great. And George, do you want to stay on? You're welcome to, bud. I'm just there's an out if you want it. Consider it's 5 to 10 as we record.
I'll stay on to hear Noel's what we've been watching.
Brilliant. Okay, great stuff. Noel, go ahead, mate. What have you been watching?
Well, I mean, apart from I've obviously been gorging on Christmas films as I do at this time every year, and it's the usual suspects really. But the only real standout one this year is Scrooged, which I don't think I've watched for a couple of years. But the difference was this time around, I watched it with Charlie, and I think because I'd not watched it for a couple of years, it was one of those movies that I stuck on and thought, as soon as I'd stuck it on, like he literally sat down and he said, I said, sit down and watch this. And he literally said, do I have to watch this? And I was like, yes, you do. Sit down and watch this. And about 10 minutes in, he was locked right into it. And I was a bit worried because I couldn't remember if it was sweary or if it was inappropriate or if there was anything I was going to need to shield him from.
I mean, as soon as he sees the day the reindeer died, he's probably like, right, okay, I kind of want to see where this is going.
Exactly. And I knew that would get him in the door, and it really kind of did. And, you know, he got it. He got that Bill Murray was a twat, but at the same time, he kind of liked Bill Murray and he wanted to see him fixed. So he really got on board with it right up until the monologue at the end, and was literally out of his chair dancing around to Put a Little Love in Your Heart at the end of it. So it absolutely worked. So the only reason I wanted to mention it, nobody needs to hear me talk about what it's about or how good it is, but you know, if you're looking for a movie to watch with your 8-year-old kid, 7 or 8-year-old kid, Scrooged will work quite well. The only thing I literally shielded him from was the reveal of the
homeless dude.
No, the ghost of the Ghost of Future of Christmas Future, where he reveals his stomach. Literally, he was sat next to me with his head on my shoulder, and I put my hand right across his face just for that moment. Yeah. But even, you know, the bit with the homeless guy, like, he watched it and he got it, and he was like, you know, he's really bad. He could have helped him. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. He could have helped him. He's learning now, you know. So it's a perfect Christmas movie to watch with a kid.
Did he like the section where Bill Murray's just doing an impression of Richard Burton for fucking?
Yeah. I thought so. Yes. Yeah. He loved it. He literally jumped out of his seat and went, "Is he doing Richard Burton?"
Yeah, exactly.
So no, he loved that. The only other thing that hasn't been a Christmas movie was as the result of choice paralysis, which I know we all probably struggle with. So, you know, flicking through stuff for hours and not being able to come up with anything. Well, now I've got the problem of, obviously I've got Disney Plus and I've got Netflix, but I've got Now TV for Christmas as well. So I've got the problem of flicking through that and not being able to come up with anything. But I hit on Hot Air from 2018, which is a Steve Coogan vehicle. Has anybody seen it?
No. The only reason why I know of it is one of the presenters of Blank Check is in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he played
people in the who are his radio show people.
He usually plays kind of scrawny PA type characters.
Has he got glasses and kind of a beard and he's a bald head and?
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know who it is. Is it the guy from Tick?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, he's good in it. Yeah, so I mean, I like Steve Coogan. I can watch most things with Steve Coogan in, so it felt like an easy one. The fact that in this he is playing a right-wing American radio talk show host made it all the more appealing. I liked the idea of seeing someone like Steve Alan Partridge Coogan taking on a sort of, a Trump supporting radio DJ type. And I think when the movie kicks off, that's exactly what you're getting. So the plot is essentially he's this right-wing talk show host. His viewing figures have been through the roof for ages, but they're on the decline a little bit. There are other people that are coming into the space that are taking up his viewership. And at around that point, this kind of prick of a man is forced to deal with the fact that he has a 16-year-old niece that appears out of nowhere and is kind of in a little bit of trouble because her mother, who is his sister, is falling off the wagon, for the umpteenth time, and he needs to take in this 16-year-old and kind of deal with her problems a little bit. So the direction that it goes in, funnily enough, while I was watching it, I was thinking this could kind of work as a Christmas movie. Is it set in New York? I'm pretty sure I don't know if it's set in New York specifically, but it is, it's set in a big city. It's the sort of, the outsider that comes into the big city and he has to sort of learn to be a bit more caring and learn to be more understanding and learn to be less selfish. And she sort of breaks him a little bit, and it's more about how his character actually doesn't necessarily mean the things that he's saying. It's just that he's doing it because that's his character on the radio. It's not as explicit as that, but you get that sense throughout. And I think actually what makes it work as a film is not so much the thing that leads you in, the thing that led me in of this is Steve Coogan playing a right-wing radio DJ. What actually makes it work is the young girl character of Tess, who's played by an actress called Taylor Russell, who the only thing notable I can see, she was in something called Waves in 2019, and I believe she's in the Lost in Space TV series. But she's excellent. She's brilliant. She's really, really charming. She's really, really believable as this really smart but young and kind of, emotionally charged but challenged individual who's had a lot to deal with in her life, but is sort of getting on the best she can. And how she approaches Steve Coogan's character Lionel, and how she sort of starts to break him down, and how she calls him out on things, and how he then reveals to her why he's the way he is and sort of calls her out on things. They really do have a nice sort of chemistry and a nice sort of they do bump up against each other rather well. And it's not a game changer, but it's a really nice, really watchable little flick. And I think the fact that Steve Coogan, who is the big draw here, certainly in playing this character, is kind of outshone a little bit by this supposedly 16-year-old character. Really says a lot about her impact on the story. It's on Now TV at the moment. It's quite disposable. It's very watchable. It's a couple of jingle bells away from being a Christmas movie. It would work in that context, I think. So it's worth a watch. Definitely worth a watch. But that's about it for me. Apart from I've been catching up on bits of TV and Mandalorian and stuff like that. So I'm going to be taking 2021 a lot more seriously in terms of films. I'm going to watch a lot more shit because, frankly, my consumption this year has been poor. So next time around I'll have a lot more to say.
Very good. I enjoyed everything you had to say there, Bud, and I'm sure everybody else did as well, apart from Admiral Arthouse, the miserable bastard. No. Okay, so we'll talk about some what we've been watching then. I'm not kicking you guys off in the slightest. I don't want you to feel like that. It just like if you do want to go, it's a natural time to go. So otherwise, I'll continue.
Well, I'll break away because I've only got one more beer that I can have before bedtime because I'm limiting myself. So I'll have one more beer before bedtime. So I'll leave you to it.
Yeah, I'll head too. So it'll just be the core reviews for the rest of it.
Okay, well, Noel, Jordan, a pleasure as always. Anything to plug before you go?
No, just all have a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely. Just go get absolute plateaus and eat too much turkey.
Yeah.
Fucking right. Nice one.
Right, take it easy, guys.
Ta-ra.
Thank you, gents. Take care. Merry Christmas. Okay, so we continue on. Does anybody want to take a break to get a drink or go to the toilet or whatever before we carry on?
No, good to go. Bexy's just got to quickly do something though, so she's going to be a couple of minutes. So do you want to do what you've been watching first?
Yeah, sure, I can do. Okay, so I went on a bit of a Seth Rogen kick last week and did a double bill.
Very nice.
Yes. Watched his kind of now infamous because of the Sony hack, and that's all anyone ever really talks about in reference to the film, The Interview, which I think is fucking brilliant. This film makes me laugh consistently every time I watch it. Franco is going big in this, but I think it works for the character.
I've been holding over rewatching this for ages.
Oh man, like he is. I mean, he's really, really fucking going for it, and that it's obviously intentional in the direction. But I think it works. By the end, you are just incredibly endeared to him. And I mean, there's an awful lot of just funny, random shit in The Interview, which it might just be my sense of humour, to be fair, because we'll talk about Holmes and Watson in a bit and how much I enjoy that film. But yeah, it works all the way for me, and it's quite long as well. But I like that because there's just a lot of funny shit in it. And the sequence at the end with Katy Perry's firework as Kim Jong is blown up is sensational. I really like The Interview. Also watched The Night Before.
Wait.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Okay, I'll save that then. Rewatched, as I said I was thinking about last week, I rewatched the Blumhouse Black Christmas.
We rewatched the first 40 minutes of it, and then I decided to go to bed.
Right, okay. It's... I think I probably said this when we reviewed it, but it feels like a film that wasn't originally a remake of Black Christmas, and they just retooled it.
Yeah.
And that does bother me. Because I think there's good, solid material to mine in a remake of Black Christmas.
Yeah.
And they do go in a different direction, and it's Sledgehammer for a Walnut, which I think I maybe had less problems with this time round. I think because I knew, wow, this really isn't actually a remake of Black Christmas. This is a completely separate film called Black Christmas. I think I maybe gave it a bit more time. The thing is, though, the magical shit is very, very dumb. It could easily just be a fraternity of fucking douchebags.
Which it kind of is as well.
Yeah, but I mean, like the whole, like the bust of the ex, like college founder is actually like possessed, and it possesses them when they put them. It just like no. Just have a bunch of douchebag frat boys attacking these women, and it would feel more fucking hell. Holy shit! It kind of takes away from the really like more down to earth kind of like everyday horror of Imogen Poots playing a character who essentially was date raped, and like the law kind of dealt with it, or the college dealt with it, but in a way where they think less of her for it. I don't. There's real everyday horror in this film that they feel like they just have to go. Oh, plus there's a magical bust of a ex-college founder. It doesn't. That shit doesn't work. And the Exorcist 3 ripoff. I forgot how quick that scene is.
Yeah,
like
there's no build up to it, is there? It just happens.
There's like a couple of bits of the girl going from one end of the shot to the other, one end of the shot to the other, comes out of the left, and the figure comes up behind her. And I think it's cool that a modern day horror film is referencing Exorcist 3 in such a obvious way. But I wish the scare was better. Because, like you say, there's no build-up. There's no real tension to it, And because the thing is, in this setting, you are expecting something to happen, and you're waiting for the thing to happen. The fucking majesty of that sequence in Exorcist 3 is that scene has built up to a jump scare, and then you don't see it coming at all.
Yeah. And the fact is, I've seen The Exorcist 3 numerous times, and it fucking still gets me every single time.
Yeah, it's great because it feels unnatural where they're coming from, and it does in this as well. But it just doesn't give you the time of day to think about it. And I mean, there's a kill later on as well where a girl's looking for some Christmas lights, and she's kind of like up in the attic, and then somebody in a mask is just crouched there and then comes for her. And all I'm thinking there is, what, was he just fucking crouched there hoping someone would randomly come up to the attic?
That's it. The thing is, like I say, we did sit down to rewatch it, and I'll be honest, I wasn't feeling too great, so that's why I turned it off. I was like, look, I'm not feeling too great, and it's not worth staying up for this, because it was really boring. It's really boring as well. I found it.
That first half is very, very, very low key. Yeah. There's a couple of kills, and it's I think that sequence where Imogen Poots is in that like dance thing, and they sing that song about how she was raped. That is quite a powerful little scene, and I like the way that it then builds the we've actually pissed people off here doing this. And now we're getting hunted down. And again, that feels like a better idea for a film. A bunch of pissed off frat boys going after these girls when they when the girls embarrass them at this show. But no, it's all started beforehand, and it's all just this evil, magical.
Do you know what?
Principle bust.
The film. I knew straight away watching the film. I said to Bex when we watched it this time, I knew this film was going to be an absolute disappointment. When at the very beginning you've got a really good, it's a really solid, I think, opening for the first kill, and then you get essentially like the kill that forms the snow angel, and then it's dragging her away, and you've got that to one right of the screen, then you've got the big expanse of snow on the ground there, and you're going, it's going to come up and say Black Christmas against that bit. No, just bump, kicks it aside, Black Christmas on a title card, and it's like, you've got that shot there, you've got all that there, lined up. You know, all you need to do is fucking dunk it, and what do? You just fucking spike it away.
Yeah, agree. It's the thing is, I think going at it the first time round, I was just like, that wasn't Black Christmas, and I think that is fair, because no, it's not the film that it was in my head, but to be fair, you did say you were a remake of Black Christmas, so yeah. But I don't think I'm as against it as I was the first time round, because I can kind of see what they're going for in elements of it, but I feel like there were a series of obvious bad decisions, which do kind of feel like this film was conceived of, shot and released in the span of a year. And also, like I say, it feels like a different script that was retooled, because Jason Blum said, I tell you what, I'll give this a go if you can turn this into a Black Christmas remake.
Yeah.
But it weirdly feels like a cash grab and someone trying to say something and having to mush it into a form that it doesn't fit. But I think I was maybe too harsh on the filmmakers first time round in just going, this is just fucking cynical. They just made it because they could. To be fair, I don't know. Jason Blum says, hey, you can make the film you want to make, but you've got to do X, Y, and Z. A lot of people would go for that deal, and yeah, fair enough. I wish the execution was better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I watched National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, but it's fucking Christmas Vacation, it's just great.
Pretty fucking great. I think Betsy's still doing what she's doing, so should we do Night Before quickly?
Yeah, do it. Yeah, absolutely.
It's become a bit of a Christmas classic for me, this. Not like I think it's Christmas classic, but it's become, it's now entered my Christmas rotation.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think the worst thing I can say about it is that they choose the least interesting of the trio to be the ostensible lead. Like, JGL, not that bothered about that character, to be honest with you.
No, because I think that he's quite good at doing is he's quite good at playing kind of dickheads that are actually dickheads, that are just people who have the capacity to be a dickhead. And he kind of does that quite charmingly here, where he does try and make everything about him, and that is kind of his problem, is he's just never got over the thing that defines him.
Yeah, I get that, but the thing is, like Anthony Mackie's character, the stuff with the steroids and whatnot, comes on quite late in the day, and it's like maybe would like to dig into that a little bit more. But then Seth Rogen basically just gets the broad comedy of it all. And that moment where he is receiving those texts from James Franco, Donna, I had to pause it because she was laughing so much. Like, I haven't seen her like that in hysterics in a long while. Like, she was fucking loving it. Like, just the whole kind of like, do you want to suck my dick? And Seth Rogen's like, do I? I think I kind of do. Am I going to suck your man's dick tonight? Just that whole kind of thing. It's.
And the callback to it later on, where he's like, you're going to suck my dick, and he's like, I was.
Yeah. I just the way that Franco is just really like into him.
And the fact that Franco literally apparently asked Jonathan Levine, and actually demanded that Jonathan Levine, when it comes up in the cast, say that he is playing himself.
That's great. It's cracking. I mean, I don't know. Michael Shannon plays like a magical stoner who, in the end, is revealed to be an angel waiting to get his wings.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
And the whole reason why that he's doing it all is because he read The Great Gatsby.
Oh, that's right.
And
yeah.
then him saying about the Leo thing, you know, I didn't really
3D.
like the movie, but I'm a sucker for Leo.
But then he's just like, but the 3D gives me a head.
And it's that's almost like with Michael Shannon, like it's like he's like that's his thing. He's just saying that because him and Leonardo DiCaprio are very good friends.
Oh, really? Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, apparently him and DiCaprio have become quite good mates post they're working on Revolution Road together.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun.
Seth Rogen, just like you said, the comedy heavy lifting. I mean, the bit where he's sending a message to his self about his kid is brilliant.
Fuck you, baby.
But then also the bit where he's trying to act not stoned in the limo, and he keeps pulling those faces.
Yeah.
He's kind of brilliant. There's one where I think he does it where he takes his glasses off and just puts them in his mouth, and he's like, "What about now?" It's like, wow, that is haunting how weird you look right now. It's just, I will also say, you know, I'm not a big Miley Cyrus fan, in despite the fact that weirdly I think I've seen all of her movies. But listening to Joseph Gordon-Levitt belting out Wrecking Ball is fantastic.
Yep.
That man can belt out a tune. It is wonderful.
Yeah.
You're back in the room, aren't you?
Yeah, it's fucking great. And I was listening to what you were saying from in there. You didn't mention the bit with Seth Rogen in the church.
Oh, we didn't do that. Oh, the baby when he's hissing at the baby.
Yeah. Oh, that's it.
Yeah, we didn't do that.
We didn't do that. And he's running away. I didn't find What's Her Face as annoying as I usually do. Either.
Yeah, I did.
I know you did.
I did.
Oh,
she's not funny.
She doesn't get.
No, not this
Gillian
captain.
Bell.
Gillian Bell.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
She's barely in it, so she's not.
Then A, cast somebody that might be funny, rather than somebody that just isn't funny, and cast somebody whose face doesn't look like the back of a fat man's knee.
But I do find her quite funny in this because it's quite understated.
Donna just calls her Brittany runs a marathon. That's all she refers to her as. She's just like, oh, is that Brittany runs a marathon? Yes, it is Brittany runs a marathon.
Do you know what else they could have cast in it?
Anyone else.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great and it's really fucking funny. So.
What else? What have you been watching on your solo, Becky?
So I have watched a few. I watched Jawbreaker. What?
I forgot you watched that. Random.
Yeah. It's one of those films that I always forget how good it actually is. It's really quite funny. And what's her name?
Rose McGowan?
I can't get Rosario Dawson out of my head.
It's not Rosario Dawson.
It's not Rosario Dawson. Is very well cast as the bitch because she seems like she would be a bitch. So yeah, it's very much of its time, but it's really funny. I watched The Greatest Showman. Everyone knows my thoughts on The Greatest Showman, so I'm not going to go into that one too much. But you are?
No, you think it's a pile of wank?
No, I really love it. And you know, I don't care that it's all fabricated and that in real life he wasn't that great of a guy. I don't care. It's a fun movie. Zac Efron's great in it. Zendaya's great in it.
Zac Efron's great in everything.
He is. The bit at the end where he like transfers the hat over to him and then he comes out like doing a knee slide. It's fucking magical.
Of course, it's Zac Efron.
And yeah, I still wanted to test whether I could, but I still can't watch it without having a little bit of a cry. It's just total mush. I also watched 13 Ghosts. I fucking love 13 Ghosts. I could literally watch it like weekly.
See, I couldn't watch it weekly, but I'm a sucker for anything with Matthew Lillard.
Yeah, he is so good in it, and the whole like ghost, the story of it's really interesting. Like, it's really well put together.
I like the fact that F. Murray Abraham approached it with the same amount of vigor as he approaches everything.
But yeah, watched that with Isabel one night. I don't know what you were doing. I think it might have been when you were recording. And she made me find the backstories of all the ghosts and read them to her.
It was the night when I decided to stop watching Black Christmas because I was not feeling very well and bored.
Yeah, that's fair. So yeah, she made me read her the backstory of all the all the ghosts so that she knew like what their story was. So what else I watched on my own? I also watched The Brothers Bloom. Seems like it's been a bit of a week for me for just fuck it. I'm sick of waiting. I'm gonna watch it on my own. You're not so keen on this anymore, are you?
Brothers Bloom, it's good, but I think it tries to be too playful too often, and that kind of that didn't sit with me as well. I think I'm just a little bit over Adrian Brody.
Oh, I like A-Brod.
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit over him.
But it's got what's his face in it as well.
Ruffles. It is, but I think I'm over A-Brod.
It's got Rinko Kikuchi in it.
It just doesn't really. She's fine.
She blows stuff up.
She's fine.
Yeah, I loved it on rewatch. It's every bit as good as I remember it being. I watched The Nutcracker and the Four Realms.
Oh, I like this.
You didn't like this?
No, I like it.
Yeah, it's good. It's all
It's
like
good
and shit.
It's honestly right. That's a film that just fucking sank without a trace.
Yeah, it really did. Yeah.
And it's really, really fucking good looking. Keira Knightley is doing some fun, over the top shit in it, and I don't know. There's a bunch of fucking dancing in it, and it's really nice to see. People needed to get their fucking thumbs up out their asses about this.
Yeah. I mean, it's not. I don't know. I was going to say it's not like a classic kids film that you'd sit down and like watch on the regular basis. But I think if I had a young Isabel rather than a 16-year-old miserable Isabel, I probably would.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's just so pretty and it feels really Christmassy. So and that's all that I needed from it. So yeah, it did its job. Really enjoyed it on rewatch. And then the last one that I watched technically doesn't count because it's a TV miniseries type thing.
Can't.
But I watched Rose Red, the Stephen King thing. But I won't say anything about it because it's TV.
You watched all of it?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
When did you watch the last part of it?
Today.
With Isabel?
No.
Wow, that's cool.
I've said I'll go back and watch it. She was going out and I needed to watch it.
Right, so what are the ones we watched together then?
Yes.
So we rewatched Die Hard, of course, at Christmas, but it's Die Hard, so we don't need to get much into it. We also rewatched Underwater to see if it still stood up, didn't we? I think
we did. Yeah.
Because
absolutely does.
Because I wanted to sort of do a lot of end of the year stuff, and this at the moment it was quite high. It's quite high in my end of year list. And I wanted to see if it was maybe just the visual of seeing the cinema and been a little bit like holy shit, kind of taken by surprise from it. No, it actually got better on rewatch.
Yeah.
That film is an absolute corker and is pacey as fuck.
It is, yeah.
It's a 95-minute movie that gets its shit done but feels like you're watching a 2-hour movie. It's the opposite of watching a 2-hour movie that should be 95 minutes long. And
one place where films like this tend to fall down is creature design, and the creature design on this is fantastic.
Oh, it's fucking it's freaky, isn't it?
That bit where it like stands up and you realise that all the ones that have been attacking him so far are just like little ones that live on this giant one.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And what I thought about halfway through it was, I am not a remaker-phobe, right? I hope that this film doesn't get remade or they don't re-fucking do it. But if they wanted to go for we're redoing Alien. Like that.
She'd be a good Ripley, yeah.
Kristen Stewart would be a fucking great Ripley.
Do you know what? She's got a really good on-screen charisma.
She is. I think she's fucking great, and she's fantastic in this. It is. I really, really enjoyed it again on rewatch.
I really want to know where she got that like bralette top on that she wears all the way through.
I think they're issued because the Dead Jane's wearing one.
Fucking Dead Jane.
What?
Fucking Dead Jane.
Yeah. We also rewatched 8 Crazy Nights, the Adam Sandler animation, which is a Hanukkah movie.
It is?
Yeah. It's really fucking entertaining. Ian, have you ever seen this?
No. was fucking fascinated to hear the word rewatch.
Oh, we've watched this quite a lot.
Oh yeah, we've watched it a lot.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
It's in the Christmas rotation. We always watch it when Halloween starts.
I actually think you'd actually really quite like this.
Yeah.
It's
fun.
It's kind of mean spirited, but in a quite a nice way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
In the fact that it's being mean but not mean spirited.
Did you mention it's also a musical?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a musical. There's a song that's in the round, isn't there?
Yeah.
So do you know the story about it?
No, go on.
Right. So it's an animation done in like a classic style of how Christmas TV specials were done as the animation for it. Adam Sandler plays a character called Davy Stone, who is essentially a bit of a bum, isn't he?
Yeah.
He hates Christmas and Hanukkah because his parents were killed around this time when he was a kid, and so every Hanukkah or Christmas he basically destroys it for the town by being a bit of a dick, and he gets essentially sentenced, doesn't he, to 10 years. But a local what is he? He's a
referee.
He's a referee for basketball referee. Basically says that could he do community service instead, and train to be a youth basketball referee. And it's set over Hanukkah, and it's about him essentially becoming a good person.
It's a redemption arc,
Yeah,
isn't it, basically?
it is. But it's a lot of fun. There's some trippy scenes in it. There's some fucking weird reindeers that do some mad shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some gross out stuff in there.
There's some gross out bits in it. There's Adam Sandler singing about stuff that actually is really quite good. It's a lot of fun.
The standout song is the Technical Foul song.
The Technical Foul song is a great song.
It is good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun.
That actually gets used, doesn't it, in our household?
Yeah, it does. The Technical Foul thing gets used a lot in our household. And
Matt really enjoyed this movie.
And before we get into Holmes and Watson, we watched Doolittle.
Okay.
Yeah.
How'd that go?
Shit, innit? It's not very good. I can see why it bombed massively. So essentially, Doolittle is landed gentry has something happen to him that causes him to then use animals as his slaves to essentially just continue with his melancholy. And then the only reason why he snaps out of it is when he thinks he's about to lose his land.
Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah, its central character's a fucking arsehole with, I don't think, any redemption to him at all. And then it's like, oh, you need to save the Queen, and then immediately the Queen just shows that she's a bit of a dick as well. I hated it.
I think that's fair.
It's not fun. It's not charming. It's not witty. It is not anything that this movie should be. Do you know what? The early 90s Eddie Murphy Dr. Dolittle is infinitely more fun and better than this movie. And do you know what? That didn't cost fucking nearly $200 million. It's crap. It's really crap, but it's almost offensive in how crap it can be. And also,
you did get a little bit excited when you realised what's his name voices the squirrel, didn't you?
Craig Robinson
Craig
as the squirrel, who is essentially doesn't trust that kid because he tried to shoot him.
Yep.
But he did try to shoot him. He
was trying to not shoot the duck or whatever.
He still shot the squirrel, didn't he? That I would prefer to watch the side mission of what Craig Robinson's character's doing throughout the movie.
Okay.
That's better than anything else that is going on.
Yeah.
You know, essentially, Dr. Dolittle making a silverback gorilla play him against chess just to make himself feel better because he knows he's going to beat him. Yeah, it's a gorilla, you prick. I hated it.
You did, didn't you?
I really, really hated it.
You were quite angry with it, weren't you?
Yeah. It's mean.
He's a bit mean-spirited, actually. Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm glad it flopped, and I'm glad we won't get another one. And also, I think it's really lazy from Downey Jr. It shows that he literally is just gone, do you know what? I've made my nut. I've made my nut. I don't need to care anymore. And that's quite sad because Robert Downey Jr. is a fucking great actor.
Tell me what he wants to be.
And he's kind of just fallen into this, I'm going to be, a little bit outlandish. I might do a Welsh bit here. And it just makes no sense. I didn't like it.
No.
What do you think, Becky?
I didn't hate it as much as you did, but it has no merit whatsoever. Like, it's not a good story. It's not well done. It's not even well acted. The animals are all a bit weird. They're not well done CGI animals.
What amazes me here is we are now 25 years on from Babe, and that nails charming animal better than a lot of these movies that are trying to do it now, and look better.
Yeah. Yeah, I want a fan. We'll be watching it again.
No, totally fair.
Go on. That's it. We're on to the main event.
I kind of think maybe we should pause the main event for next week because it's 10:35.
I can see your point on that. Yeah.
It's late.
The thing is, it's kind of late for us. It's really fucking late for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I kind of want to come at Holmes and Watson with a bit more awakeness.
It's like this is like 10 past midnight for us, for you, isn't it?
Yeah. I just really like Holmes and Watson. I don't know how much we want to get into it, but it's feral being feral to like a nuclear powered degree.
The thing is, I genuinely think that John C. Reilly is doing some great bits in this.
Yeah.
But it's in such a shit film.
You shut your fucking mouth.
But I mean, I go on. So Bex, this was your first time at it, yeah?
Mhm.
And you didn't get on with it.
I hated it.
Okay.
Absolutely hated it.
Which most people did.
It's mean-spirited. It's crass.
It is.
It's not funny.
It is.
Will Ferrell's fucking shit in it. All the like little shoehorned in references to like modern stuff are just really crappily done. Rebecca Hall's pretty good in it. John C. Reilly's pretty good in it. Will Ferrell ruins it. Absolutely ruins it. There's like a couple of funny bits that I laughed at. I can't remember what they are because I've kind of mostly scrubbed the memory of the film from my mind. I think one's a bit with Steve Coogan. I can't remember the other bit. But yeah, I just...
What was the other bit? A, the telegram bit.
No.
Was it B?
Although the first bit of that, it goes on too long, and that's what Will Ferrell does. He will fucking hammer the shit out of a joke that starts off funny until it's no longer funny.
I'm sorry, the bit where
where Will Ferrell turns round and puts on the fake moustache and turns back round, and John C. Reilly pulls a gun on him, is fantastic. John C. Reilly's reaction to that is brilliant. And then when he literally takes it off and goes, "It's me," and then when he puts it back on again and John C. Reilly goes to punch him, is genius.
Mm.
It's fantastic.
John C. Reilly is good in it. It's just, yeah. But yeah, Grace, stop. Are you awake? Stop. Is very funny, but like I say, they just over egg it.
No, I disagree. When he starts trying to get him to essentially send a telegrammed dick pic, it's brilliant.
Hmm.
I just like.
Oh no, I remember the other funny bit.
What?
Oh, yeah.
When the man's on the floor and he's like, "Yeah, you're right. I'm just a poor wanker," or something. That bit's quite funny.
I mean, it's fascinating that you could cast Ralph Fiennes as Moriarty probably as a one-time deal, and it's this that he's Moriarty in.
Mm.
I like the running joke with Kelly MacDonald and her gentleman suitors.
Oh, I hated that.
Oh, I fucking
really
love
pissed me off.
And just John C. Reilly saying, "Oh God, what was it? That's why my room always smells of."
Is it old fish and semen?
Yeah, old fish and semen.
Fish pie
and semen. That's it. That's it.
Grim. It's just crass, not funny crass, just crass.
I don't know.
But I think John C. Reilly can pull it off because it's John C. Reilly. If it was Will Ferrell delivering that line, yes, but it's not.
Because he's genuinely hurt by it. Like, Will Ferrell can't really do genuinely hurt. John C. Reilly can.
And then you've got a fucking musical number.
Yeah.
Which is brilliant.
I mean...
Holmes is an absolute tit.
Yeah, but Sherlock Holmes is supposed to be a tit.
I mean, it's just these little things like, now my mind is clear. Where's my opium? Like, I like Holmes and Lauren Lapkus as well. Like, considering she barely talks in the film, just her thinking that she's a feral cat, and one day they hoped that she has the intellect of a 6-year-old. I like it, just fucking eating the onion.
The bit where Watson is described is basically announced as a real doctor, and the first thing he says is, "Would you like some heroin?"
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I don't. It makes me laugh pretty consistently throughout the entire thing.
The thing is, I'm laughing and I'm going, I know I probably shouldn't be laughing, but I don't care.
I mean, it's stupid stuff like when the judge is about to let the fake Moriarty free, and then Riley just comes in. He's like, "Stop this trial," and then just starts shooting the guns in the air. And then he walks up, and then the one person just falls off the balcony behind him. It's fucking. I mean, it obviously, like, I am the guy who enjoys a haunted house too, you know. But is it Ferrell and Riley's best one together? God, no, of course it's not. But I think it's more in that wheelhouse than people are willing to admit.
It's the film that nobody asked for, that nobody wanted, that when you actually look at it and go, who was this film made for? And then there'd be a picture of me and Ian just going, hello.
Yeah. It was made for me, hungover as shit on Boxing Day 2 years ago when I went to go see it.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're right though, Mark. It is literally made for us and nobody else on Earth.
Yeah. I do think if we ever ran into, I don't know where we would, but if by some serendipitous moment we ever ran into John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell, we would literally go, "We really liked Holmes and Watson," and they'd go, "Oh, you're the two guys who liked Holmes and Watson."
It's. I guess how you can like it so much.
Because do you know what?
What?
Why not?
It's not very good.
So?
Or funny.
It is funny though.
It has no charm.
It has loads of charm.
It doesn't.
It does. I disagree with you. We do have one question, guys, so should we just do it quickly then?
I will just say the two first bits of trivia on IMDb are, according to Deadline, after disastrous test screenings, Sony attempted to sell the film to Netflix, which declined. And during the opening days of its Christmas 2018 release, exhibitors reported an astonishing number of walkouts.
That's just cruel for the.
I mean, the third one is Steve Coogan basically saying, I think in 20 years' time, when the dust has settled and people are able to look at Holmes and Watson objectively, I think people will say it's still rubbish. Oh God, this is brutal. The next one. Many critics decried the film for being horribly unfunny and shockingly incompetent on a technical level, with sloppy editing and several shots out of focus.
I don't remember that.
You can't see properly anywhere.
Touché.
Bloody hell. Anyway, yeah.
Definitely not shit.
Definitely not shit.
What do we have that's worse than shit? Is it Suspiria?
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Oh, fucking hell.
My Suspiria for the year. No, because it's not a new release, so I don't have to count it.
Rick Kidd, at Rick J. Kidd, asks us, everyone has their favourite Christmas movies, but do you have any other favourite films for other holidays, e.g. New Year?
Carol, New Year's. Looking forward to watching it next week.
That movie about grooming?
Yeah.
New Year's.
When
Harry Met Sally.
Thanksgiving. Planes,
Trains, Automobiles. Easter, Last Temptation of Christ.
Nice. Independence Day.
Yeah.
2.
Nice.
I mean, the Halloween one, but that's Halloween. There's that there.
There's too many for Halloween.
There's a random one that we always watch on a certain day, isn't there?
We always watch a disaster movie on New Year's Eve as well.
Yeah, so Greenland's getting watched this year.
Sweet.
Fucking looking forward to that. Because actually, the early word that I've heard about Greenland is that it's actually quite good.
Yeah, it's that it's surprisingly all right. And a film no one needs to watch right now.
Yeah. There's one that we always watch on a certain day. I can't remember what it is. It's a random fucking holiday. We always watch it. I can't remember what it is. But anyway, I'm very much looking forward to my New Year's watching When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah, because you didn't get to it last year.
I didn't get to it last year, and I will only watch it in between Christmas and New Year because it's the right time to watch When Harry Met Sally, and it genuinely is one of my favourite movies of all time.
Yeah.
And we've seen this quite a lot. If I could be transported into any movie, sort of time, place, that movie is why I want to go to New York in winter.
I bet it's not anywhere near as good as you think it is.
I bet it's not, but I don't care.
It's really cold.
I'm fine with that. That's what I want. I want to go to New York at Christmas because I want it to be like that. I know it won't be like that, and my dreams will be shattered, and it's never meet your idols, but I don't care.
Fair enough.
Nice. So that's going to do it for this week. I need to go. So next week we'll be reviewing Soul.
Yes.
And I think that's it so far.
Something else.
But
we'll remember a different time. Definitely something else.
There's something landing on Netflix.
Oh, The Midnight Sky.
That's the fucker.
That's it,
Yeah, good call. Thank you.
Literally, Ian, that backs up my theory that people have already forgotten about that movie before
100%. 100%. I'm going to struggle to actually remember to watch it for next week, but we'll see how it goes. So that's Soul and The Midnight Sky. Did all the plugs at the start. So thank you very much. Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much, Becky.
Thank you very much, Ian.
Thanks, Ian.
Merry Christmas, guys. Sorry?
Been a great host.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And thank you very much, guys. Merry Christmas. Stay safe, and we'll speak to you soon. Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
This podcast is part of the Pod Syndicate family. The For more criminally compelling shows, articles, and conversations, head to wearepodsyndicate.com.